Thank you, save to copy.
Yeah, watch this.
Okay, I'm waiting for this, and this is what he told me to watch.
You're live. You're on.
Are we live?
Is it
You're
streaming?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, we're live. All right, awesome, finally. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, welcome to the Genetically Modified Skeptic 100,000 subscriber live stream celebration. I am beyond hyped about getting this going and raising some money for ex-Muslims of North America. We have a $5,000 goal. We ended up raising $2,500 when I was at 10,000 subscribers, when we had that live stream. And I kind of think we can probably hit this, right? So the goal by the end of the stream is to have this hit, and Dan and I might possibly maybe play some kind of wonky game of Jenga.
I think you should introduce who I am, because
That's
most
probably
people
true.
who watch your show obviously have good taste, so they don't really go to my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my co-host, Objectively Dan. You want to hold up your mug?
That's right.
He has a show called
Truth Wanted. It's hosted right here at the ACA. Every week I talk to people of all sorts of religious persuasions and otherwise, and talk to them about what they believe and why they think it's true. It's really fun. You should check it out. The channel for that is called Truth Wanted. It's hosted live every Friday at 6 o'clock. And Drew has been on there a few times too. So if you want to see this guy's good face on there, he's been on a few episodes now.
Gave
So
you a
definitely
shout
check
out
that
one
out.
time, and
Yeah.
so hopefully it keeps growing, and I think it's going to be a great show as it grows. You know.
I think so. I'm really excited for this next year. I got some more ideas to bump into it, make it more cool. But for now, I'll ride on your coattails on this live stream. I think that's a good.
Well,
way for
I
me to go.
need Dan to be in here as a support, because this is a lot of weight resting on my shoulders, making sure we hit this goal, make sure we get all of our guests in on time. But I have Dan as my co-host, and I also have the producers and the crew behind all of the Atheist, like the Atheist Experience, Truth Wanted, Talk Heathen, Secular Sexuality, all of the ACA shows producing this episode right now. So I just can't believe that they have helped me out so much by making this happen. So thank you, all of the crew. I'm looking at Eric Murphy from Talk Heathen right now.
Yeah, we
He's
should
giving me.
fucking mention we have a live studio audience with us tonight,
Dude, make some noise.
which is awesome.
If you're not in Austin right now and you're watching this live, well, thank you, but you are missing out on a huge element of this, which is watching live from the ACA studio.
Let me just start off by saying, before we get into this thing, I remember watching this man's first live stream, which he did in his freaking bedroom, basically, hosting it all together with all these other great atheist creators. And now at 100,000 subscribers, which is amazing, in about a 2.5 year time period, you've just grown so much and your channel's improved. And I'm so glad that I got to be a part of that journey, man. It was really cool.
Well, we met because my channel exists and because you were on a YouTube video.
That's true.
A couple of years ago.
That's true.
So
that's another story. Maybe,
another
maybe for another time.
But so the way this is going to work, we have a bunch of activities. We have some guests in the queue right now. We're going to play a game, kicking off with Jimmy and Telltale. We'll bring them in just a second. But first, what we're going to do when we have new guests come on is just rattle through maybe 30 seconds each. Where would you be without a community, without an atheist community? People that share your ideas, Dan?
I'd be at home sad by myself.
That's a really good answer.
No, I come down to Austin every Friday for the past couple months now. I've been trying to produce Truth Wanted, and it's a long drive from where I live. It's like an hour and a half. But I do it because I love not only making the show and work with other people, but I love talking to people in this community. I love hearing what they have to say. It's so interesting to find other people with really similar experiences to you and somehow also different at the same time, especially if you grew up religious and you're kind of away from those religious communities and you're trying to figure out, okay, well, like, what do you do now? That was a big question for me now. And now I'm kind of helping other people on their kind of journeys as well. And it's a really satisfying feeling. I really love it. The community is what keeps me going and what keeps me making making the content I make. So
yeah, I mean, and you guys know my story. My career is working with the atheist community. I mean, I would quite literally not have my dream job if it weren't for that. But then I also wouldn't have some of my best friends, like Dan. You know, I wouldn't have had a fucking amazing time at Thomas Westbrook and Eric Murphy's house last night drinking some chocolate wine. It was weird as fuck, but it was amazing. And yeah, so I'm just really thankful for you guys. And I want to go ahead and bring in our guests. We have Mr. Atheist and Telltale Atheist. Super excited to see you guys. And I want to start off with Mr. Atheist. You want to tell us just in quick 30 seconds, where would you be without the atheist community?
You know, just angry and annoyed all the time. I think the community. So I kind of went down that like hard nihilism for a while, and I think the community is what brought me out, exposed me to atheist activism and stuff. So maybe I would have gotten over it, but probably just an angry person, as opposed to now where I'm just an angry person, not angry, just angry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Telltale over here. Telltale, what's up? You want to give us your answer to that question?
Yeah. You know, I feel like community is really important. It's like Dan said. What was it you said about community? You were saying...
Where would you be without the atheist community?
Right.
You wouldn't
I'm glad my words were so fucking impactful.
I know,
for you,
they did not stick with me. Now, here's the thing about community, okay? There are a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. There are a lot of Mormons out there who, you know, are sitting there and have no idea this community exists. And I know I didn't know that this community exists for a really, really long time, for years, 10 years almost. And, you know, in some ways, I kind of helped form the ex-Jehovah's Witness community, or helped shape it at the very least. And I don't know, I feel like John Cedar's channel, Lloyd Evans, helped shape it a lot too. So I'm just glad that we have this community here. So we have fewer ex-Jehovah's Witnesses sitting at home, you know, just upset and angry and hurt with nowhere to turn.
Yeah, that's a great answer, and I bring up this question, and I want to talk to my guests about this, because ex-Muslims of North America, the cause that we're donating to, their entire job is building an ex-Muslim community. A lot of them are atheists, some of them are not, but regardless, ex-Muslims are welcome there. It can be extremely dangerous all over the world to be an ex-Muslim, just to be an ex-Muslim, and people know that. And I think that an organization that goes out of their way to build community and make sure that all of the safety concerns are taken care of when you're just having meetups and things like that, and having like little like book tours and speaking tours and trying to bring more people into the community so they're not sitting there sad at home all the time or in danger. I think that's a kind of cause that needs to be propped up hugely by the atheist community, and that's why we're donating there tonight. So, with that said, what we're doing now is we're going to be playing a game that our friend Mr. Atheist, who just hit 50,000 subscribers, by the way, huge congrats, you more than deserve it. You might pass me one day, so, you know, look out.
You know what's funny is so my growth has been rapid and recent, and that's how it feels like all of my friends, every one of my friends wants to do. I am not measuring based on who I'm passing. I love you all very much. And I don't feel like I deserve a thing. So stop saying it like that, people. I'm just kidding. But
well, we all love Mr. Atheist. Mr. Atheist has become an integral part, I think, of this community and part of the ACA too. You know, like we're all happy that you're here, and I'm happy that you are going to be hosting a game called Mormon or Made Up. Correct?
Yeah. I asked Telltale to come up with some Jehovah's Witness ones too.
Okay.
Or maybe you did. We
I
both
got
did,
some.
I think. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I got about a dozen of these here, and what was really fun about making these is just putting myself in the mindset of a person who isn't familiar with Mormonism, because I'm going to start off easy, but you're going to think there's no way any of these are true, and a good portion of them are. Like, even the ones that are false are only a little false.
Gotcha.
So let's start out with an easy one.
I'll make
If
an
you're ready.
announcement really quick right before. So I just want to make it very clear that the donation link is going to be shared by my mods right now. Probably a bunch of mods will hop on that. And we are also going to have that in the description at all times. So if you want to donate to the cause and you want your donation to show up here, then donate via that link. If you give a super chat, thank you very much. It's really difficult for me to separate that from my ad revenue, and so the super chats would be going to me. And I just want to let you know, and it's not because I'm trying to take it, but it's because that's kind of how things are automatically set up. So if you want to donate to the cause, please donate via that link and not via super chat. If you want to give,
Yes. Do you guys hear that? Don't donate to Genetically Modified Skeptic. That's the official party line we're taking here at the ACA.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Exactly.
You know?
So Jimmy, let's get in with that first question.
All right, I'm going to start off pretty easy with you guys. Is this true or false? Mormons believe that Jesus Christ visited the American continent shortly after his death.
I believe that's a true.
I'm going to say true.
Yeah.
That's a true. You got it. You got it. Okay, so it's 10 points. Each thing is 10 points, and the points are absolutely worthless. But I'll give you the. You know what I think would be good is for everyone you get right. How hard would it be for everyone you get right? The 10 points is someone go donate $10 per 10 points they win on the thing. Everybody do that actually.
Hey, anytime that I get one right, then you have to donate. Anytime that anyone on the stream gets one wrong, you have to donate.
Yeah.
How about
Everybody
that?
just keep donating $10 after every question.
Okay,
And we're
so
good. Yeah.
question
All right.
2.
Question number 2, hard turn. You're going to have, this one's going to be a lot more difficult. Mormons believe that Cain, as in Cain and Abel, still roams the earth today, is roughly the height of a man on a horse, and is marked with dark skin and fur.
That is true, my friend. What? I had Bryce fucking Blakenagel on my show, okay?
That's true,
I know
okay.
my ex-Mormon shit. They tell me things.
Wow.
They tell me all the good things.
Wait,
Are you going
so
with
are you
true
saying
also?
are you saying that if he got a tan and got a little more body hair, then you would be Cain?
Okay,
because
all
you're
right.
already as tall as a man on a horse.
All right, okay. I see what you're trying to do here, and I don't appreciate it. So I just need you to
sorry.
stop.
I'm gonna say true to that one.
Yes, that one is true. And also, technically, since it doesn't say it in the recounting of these stories from the prophets and stuff, I didn't include they believe he is Bigfoot. However, that is what the conclusion is.
No!
A large
Yes.
portion of the Mormons believe that Cain is Bigfoot.
Mormons, stop.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's another $10, people. Get on the horn.
$10 for Bigfoot.
Yeah. All right. Number 3. Mormons believe that God has his own God, who was once a human himself, having sinned and been redeemed by his God.
Yep, I'm going to call that one for true.
I thought that was true. Yeah.
That is also true.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah. That's also
Killing it.
true.
Killing it. 3 for 3. Let's go.
Awesome.
I'm ready.
All
I
right.
might as well,
All right.
I might as well just be an ex-Mormon. You might as well. Just give me that label. I'll rock it.
After the second coming, Mormons believe that the entire earth will be converted to a giant crystal.
False. I'm going to say false on that one.
I feel like I just have to copy your answers. I have no idea what the fuck is going on right now. I thought I would actually know these.
That would also be true.
Oh my god.
All right, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
Wow.
Take away the label. I don't deserve it anymore.
And
So.
not only that, they believe every individual will get their own basically crystal with their secret name in it, which is
hold
their
on.
like heavenly name.
What
And that's
kind of
going to give them
crystals?
powers.
We talking about like some rubies and sapphires, or are we talking about like
Yeah. rubies and
Diamonds,
sapphires.
sapphires, crystal meth,
crystal-
something like that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. The blue stuff.
And you become your own god.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
That was a
another-
reference to Breaking Bad for
Very
anyone
good.
who.
Wow.
Very good. Very
I
good.
promise there are some in here that are false. I don't want you guys to get
Okay.
too
All right.
confident. All right. So here we go. Mormons believe that both Anne Frank and Adolf Hitler may now go to heaven because they were both posthumously baptized.
I can actually
think-
tell you that one is true. And the reason I say that's true is because I got in a lot of trouble for that recently. Well, not recently.
Yeah.
Did you get like something
Is
like a
that-
strike
is
on your
that
channel
false?
or something?
The worst part is Hitler's been posthumously baptized like a dozen times now. They keep doing it.
Well, you have to do it, and if you do it an even number of times, then it ends up like canceling out, right? So as long as it's an even number of baptisms, then he's still going to hell.
Can you cast someone to hell? Is that a thing in Mormonism? Because like then that would be the real canceling out, right?
You just like what you do is you grind up a bunch of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and some blended in with some pure powdered caffeine and sprinkle it over their grave, and then Mormons think they're going to hell.
Okay.
And crystal meth.
That's cool.
I don't get why he needed it. I don't get specifically why he needs it 12 times. I could see like him needing it 6 million times, but not 12.
Oh, God. Well, there it goes. That's our first Holocaust joke for the night, folks. I think we spent our budget on that one. I hope. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see.
For the record, the whole reason Drew has me here is so that half of the comments can be like, why did you get that asshole in the man bun making Holocaust jokes? That was literally like, that was the reason.
And that was the last we heard from Mr. Atheist.
I wanted, like I planned for so long to have you on. I remember when I went on Sunday Mass, like your very first one, I was like, this guy's really good at streaming. This was a lot of fun. He's going to be on something that I do. And then I was also like, his content's like been consistently amazing, and he's only got like 7,000 subs. Like he's got to come on. And now you're at 50,000. Like from how many, if I can ask,
this is the height of your hubris, Mr. Atheist.
How many subs have you gotten in the last 30 days? Can I ask that?
42,000.
Fuck you.
That's insane.
Okay, so for the record, I did a little math earlier, and I only beat you to 50,000 subs by 3 months. So it wasn't. I didn't beat you that bad.
This is where
How did that happen? That's crazy.
Because he makes like amazing content and it went underappreciated for a very long time.
That's true.
All of a sudden he got discovered by like the algorithm and everyone started watching all of his videos, and he deserved all of the subs. Like I don't know why he was at that level and he wasn't way higher up already. But I mean, where he is right now, like you more than deserve to be there. And he's like sitting there, oh, I'm so shy.
I'm so stuck right now between embarrassed and aroused. You have to stop.
That's okay. That's how I feel every time I see you.
All right, roll on with this trivia.
Okay, next question.
I'm ready for this.
Next question.
We need to go. This is
Number 7. Mormons believe you can tell whether or not someone is a demon or an evil spirit by asking to touch their face.
I'm gonna say false on that one.
I'm just gonna say true because I've agreed with you on every single one. But if I'm wrong, I have to donate, or you have to donate. But I'll donate.
Everybody donate. That one is actually false. However, it is only false in that if you reword it a little, it is true. You can tell whether or not someone is a demon or an evil spirit by asking to shake their hand. If they are an evil spirit, they will refuse to shake your hand, I think it is. If they are Satan, you will shake their hand but not feel anything. And if they're an angel, you'll feel them and the spirit will come inside you or something.
What if they're
I don't remember what it says.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What if you're paralyzed and you're like, hey, shake my hand. Oh, shit, I don't feel anything. That's the literal devil.
Just like throw them out. Wow.
Mormons have never liked anyone who isn't just like typical white and rich, so I don't know why you're asking how paralyzed people fare in this. That was like a really dark joke.
Way to bring the screen down.
Video audience. They're the assholes, not me. Okay, sorry. Mormons.
This is what happens when you get 50,000 subscribers. You turn into an asshole and you start making jokes all the time. That's what happens.
And I just checked Social Blade. I am back down to 6 subscribers. Okay. Okay, number 9. Mormons believe that, or number 8 rather, Mormons believe that God has used dark skin as a curse for sin in multiple historical settings.
I'm going to say that, well, at one point I thought that at least was true, but according to the now, what is it, like Saints Unscripted or something, it used to be the Three Mormons channel, they're like, no, that was never doctrine because Brigham Young was amazing and he loved like multicultural and multiracialism and he loved all the people who didn't look exactly like him.
That's true.
So it is true. What the Three Mormons are on about is a total lie, first of all, but basically Mormons will say it was never official doctrine that Brigham Young had said if basically interracial marriage should be punishable by death. And that's the thing they will say isn't doctrine. Brigham Young, however, did seal a black woman as a slave to Joseph Smith, which means that she has to serve him for all eternity. And he did hold a lot of super racist belief. So that's the thing. They'll be like, that's not doctrine. However, Native Americans and black people would both be people that Mormons believe their dark skin comes from a curse.
Wow.
Yeah. Good.
Mormons.
Yay.
Mormons in the 1800s.
These
Stop.
are the people.
But no, you know, the thing is, it's not even in the 1800s. It's kind of, I mean, they still kind of hold a lot of these beliefs. That dark skin thing, not necessarily anymore. But yeah, it's, you know.
The dark, as far as not
racism
really
is
anymore,
fashionable in any age. You know, it just comes in different flavors sometimes.
It's not that they don't believe the curse part. They still absolutely do. It's that as of 1978, to anyone who's seen the Book of Mormon, God changed his mind about black people.
Yep.
He basically at that point said, you're still cursed, but now you can participate in the church. So the curse is still alive and well in the Mormon church.
Yeah,
These are those people that are always smiling at you, that people are like, they just seem so nice. Oh, if only you knew, bitch. Okay.
Well, let's do one more Mormon question, and then we have about 10 minutes left of this segment. And it goes by really quickly. So then we'll have Telltale give us a couple of Jehovah's Witness questions. So give us your best one.
There's 4 left. Can we rapid fire them? Because they're all really fun.
Yeah, let's rapid fire them.
Let's do it.
Okay. Brigham Young, number 9. Brigham Young created a new doctrine that said Adam was actually God and ate the fruit to become mortal again. True or false?
False?
False.
False.
That is true. It is not accepted now as a modern belief, but Mormons at one time believed Adam was God, ate the fruit to become mortal again.
Wow.
Number 10, Mormons believe God has people on multiple planets going through the plan of salvation, all of which hear about our planet where Jesus was crucified.
That's a true one.
That is true.
There we go.
True or false, Ted Bundy was an active Mormon.
True.
True.
I don't know.
That one is false. He was inactive and he was excommunicated after being convicted of kidnapping. There are conflicting stories on whether he has been posthumously rebaptized. And these are the last 2, and I think you're really going to like these ones. Number 12, Joseph Smith said there are people living on the sun.
No.
True. I'm going to say true.
True.
This one is actually false. Brigham Young said there are people living on the sun.
There you
And
go.
the last one, Joseph Smith said there are people living on the moon.
True.
True.
I want this to be true. Is it true?
That one is true, and they're believed to be 10-foot tall Quaker dressed people. They look like 10-foot tall oatmeal men.
Yes.
That is impressive.
So they were
Love
just
it.
like Dan dressed as a Quaker.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'd fuck with the moon people. Let's go.
How tall are you, Dan?
I am 6'5".
Okay, I'm 6'2". Everyone who meets me is always surprised. Apparently, I have a short person's face.
Well, Drew is just a short person, so when we stand up later, you're gonna see it's a very big difference. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Nice.
You had to bring that up.
That's funny.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
And no, it's okay. We love each other.
That's
but,
right.
you know. All right, let's get some Jehovah's Witness questions going on here.
Okay, so here's the first one I got here. The leader of Jehovah's Witnesses had a mansion built for and deeded to Bible characters like Abraham and Moses and lived in it to keep it warm for them. Is that true or false?
That's too
That's
specific
true.
to be false.
True.
Okay, all right, so here's the next one. Don't worry, some of them are false.
All right.
Wait. Did we get it?
Yeah, it's true. That is true.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
good.
there we go.
Okay. Jehovah's Witnesses have made 12 false end times predictions.
Only 12?
Yeah, I'm gonna say false.
That's a good
True.
guess. It's 13.
Aha!
Oh,
Got 'em.
there
Yeah.
you go.
It's 13. Okay. Jehovah's Witnesses use the cross in some situations.
I'm gonna say false.
I think false.
False. They never use the cross. They believe it's idolatry. So.
All right.
Mormons are similar. They won't say idolatry anymore, but now it's we celebrate the resurrection, not the death, is their excuse now.
Right.
Everything is
Okay.
so wordy with Mormons. They don't even want to be called what are they called now?
Oh yeah, they have a new
Members
name,
of the
right?
Church of Jesus
Latter-day
Christ of
Saints?
Latter-day Saints.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to go the long route. There's no shortcut here.
Bitch, they Mormons.
Okay. So the next one I've got here is Jehovah's Witnesses take part in the pagan practice of exchanging wedding rings. True or false?
I think we're getting a little bit of bleed through from one of our guests queuing right now. You want to repeat the question really quick for me?
Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses take part in the pagan practice of exchanging wedding rings. Is that true or false?
False.
False.
I'm gonna say true just to be a contrarian.
It's true. They do
What?
take part in the
Yes!
pagan practice of exchanging wedding rings, okay? Jehovah's Witnesses celebrate wedding anniversaries. True or false?
False.
It's false.
False. Yeah.
True. It's true.
Really?
They do
What?
celebrate wedding anniversaries. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not birthdays, but wedding anniversaries are okay.
So if you forget it, it's even worse because it's like the one thing the whole year.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh man.
And they get around. Some of them get around not celebrating the holidays because my parents' anniversary was on January 8th, so we would celebrate, and I'd get like a couple of little presents every year on their
wow.
anniversary. So yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. I've got a couple more, but we're running low on time, so we can move on if you want to.
We got about 5 more minutes, so yeah, we're good to chat for just a couple more minutes. So go ahead.
Okay. They consider every baptized Jehovah's Witness as born again. True or false?
False.
True.
Okay, this is actually false. Only the
Damn, yes.
144,000 are considered born again, quote unquote, the way Baptists would view it.
Interesting.
Everybody else is de facto not a Christian. I mean, when I was baptized, I was not a Christian, really. Only the 144,000 are, and only through them could I get saved and get into paradise. So,
I see.
let's see. You know what? Actually, I think that's the very last one I had.
All right.
Oh, no, you're all good. So, well, one thing that I see this kind of popular meme, and I thought that it would be cool to have you kind of clarify what the issue with this is. So people are like, oh, yeah, there's only 144,000 Jehovah's Witnesses going to heaven. So why the fuck are you knocking on my door? I get that, but Telltale, you want to explain why even people who don't think they're part of that elite group will do that?
Yeah, so basically, I'll try to keep it short because there's a big, long, complicated math equation pretty much that they made up in the 1800s. In the book of Revelation, chapter 7, it talks about 144,000 people, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Judah, and they figured out that this is supposed to be metaphorical through this or that reason, and it talks about the great crowd. So the bottom line with the 144,000 is when Armageddon comes, they believe that the 144,000 are going to be raptured to heaven to become angels, and then they're going to come and kill everybody who was not an active, believing, baptized Jehovah's Witness. They're going to come slaughter them horrifically, and birds are going to eat their dead bodies. And then the bodies that are left over, they're going to be buried. We're going to cover up the evidence. The baptized Jehovah's Witnesses who made it through, they're going to cover up the evidence of God's genocide. So
Sounds
anyway,
like a typical Monday. Am I right, guys? Anyway.
Yeah, so it gets pretty serious, but the rest of Jehovah's Witnesses that aren't 144,000, they're going to live on a paradise Earth. Their idea behind that is God intended for Earth to be a paradise in the beginning. Why would he change his mind? So anyway, there you go.
There you go. So they
actually believe in that 144,000 thing too, except not as like they're basically Jesus's gang lieutenants. So
it's like he has 144,000 like right-hand men kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then so there's a guy who does the guy to his right, and then the guy does the guy to his right, and they're all just kind of chained up and linked off in this 144,000 Dutch rudder thing.
Okay.
So
You ever played Rover Red Rover?
That's
It's kind of like that.
Mormons really like multi-level marketing schemes. I mean, in Utah, I think a lot of people call it Mormons losing money, MLM.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like the 144,000 Mormon thing kind of sounds like it's like this shape, kind of. What is this?
It's
not
actually-
a triangle, but
It's a reverse funnel system.
it's a reverse funnel system. Yeah, kind of shaped like a pyramid,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some sort of schematic there you could draw. You could say, yeah. I don't
Very
know.
similar to the pyramids that, according to Ben Carson, were used to store grain by Joseph. Does anyone not know that? That's what
think that
Oh,
read
I
that
know
before.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did know
No,
that.
I knew that. I just didn't want to remember it. I feel like I'm gonna suffer a little bit of brain death and have trouble going through the rest of the stream because of all the things that I've learned.
We still got about 2.5 more hours, so you better get just.
Yeah, you're just getting started. I will go back and watch that clip to make me feel smarter. That a brain surgeon literally said, and I believe that that Joseph used the pyramids to store grain. That was a brain surgeon. I'm a fucking
That isn't even the
genius.
stupidest thing he said. There, I mean, he said
it-
even more stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Now, he might not be a human brain surgeon. Do you ever think about that? It could be other kinds of brains he could work
know
on.
Are you saying he's like a reptilian or?
No. I'm saying the brains he could work on, maybe they're not as complex, right? Maybe
Okay.
it's something a little
All right.
My theory is actually, it turns out brain surgery is really, really easy as long as you move extremely slow. And has anyone seen Ben Carson move fast ever? I think that's all it is. The brain he's moving so slow, the brain is healing behind his knife.
That makes
Was
sense
Ben
to me,
Carson the guy that did surgery on a grape?
I don't know if it was Ben, but I know they did surgery on a grape.
There's so many people in the,
I want
the audience
you to- I
right
want-
now that's like,
I want everyone
"Well,
on
they
the
did
live
surgery
stream
on
to
a
know
grape." Who
that
did-
our audience is made up of people well over the age to get that joke. And they're staring at us like we're idiots because
They did surgery
well,
on
our
it.
parting words will be, thank you, Mr. Atheist. Thank you, Telltale. Make sure you guys check out their channels. I want them to go ahead and get in the chat and leave a comment so that you guys can find them really quickly. We're going to switch over to our next guest, but remember to donate to ex-Muslims of North America. Thank you, guys, and they did surgery on a grape.
They did surgery on a grape.
they did surgery on a grape.
Catch you later, guys.
Section 1 complete.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Isn't that fun?
That was more traumatic for me than I expected, but
Really?
it was entertaining.
I'm disappointed in myself. I thought I'd get more of those answers right. So.
Well, I think I only got some right because of you,
Oh.
because you know more about Mormonism than I do.
Not enough, apparently, so I got to study.
So we are going to have Godless Engineer, I believe, and we had this activity last time when I hit 10K subscribers and we did a charity stream, and it's reading my hate comments. Now we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. We'll make sure that he comes on screen here, and we'll be asking him the same question that we asked Telltale and Mr. Atheist. Oh, hey, what's up? How you doing, John?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing all right.
That's great till you got here.
Trying to
so.
deal with the trauma of what just happened.
Yeah, I heard it. I mean, I was surprised by some of the questions and their answers.
So literally, we're about to add insult to injury. As soon as we start, as soon as we finish this part of answering this question. So, like all of my other guests will answer tonight, where would you be without the atheist community?
Gee, I really don't know. I would probably be stuck. I don't know, being miserable. Maybe. I mean, I found a lot of like communal support through the community in general, and I was able to find a lot of like-minded people that I could talk with, become friends with, and whatnot. And I think that's pretty essential to anybody. Really, is having that support system, that friend group or whatnot. And I feel like I found that in the atheist community. So I don't know where I would be, but it definitely wouldn't be a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can definitely relate to that. And we had already, been friends for a while, but we met in person, the same place that Dan and I met, which was Faithless Forum. And
Right.
I have to say that if it weren't for the atheist community, I obviously wouldn't have met you, and we wouldn't have been able to share a special moment of cuddling in that office chair while
me tell
Casey
y'all.
took pictures. That happened.
John?
I'm pretty sure there's a picture on one of our Facebooks if you actually wanted to see that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it easy for you, but if you dig, you'll find it.
John is a teddy bear, and I mean that as in like he is the nicest guy, and also he is a physical bear. Like he will, choke you if you're not careful.
I give a hell of a bear hug. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun hanging out with you, dude. I can't wait to see you again next year at the Faithless Forum 2019. So that's
That'd be
gonna
pretty
happen.
rad. So we want to make sure and do another push at the end, at the beginning of every segment here. Make sure that you donate to EXMNA. They do amazing work to make sure and build atheist community or just secular community for ex-Muslims. And I don't like to compare experiences all the time because we can't really do that particularly well, and it's not really fair to most people. But ex-Muslims tend to go through a lot when they're deconverting, whether they are in the United States, outside of it, anywhere. There's a lot of trauma that you often go through when you're converting out of Islam, when you're an ex-Muslim. Even if you've grown up in more liberal family, conservative, it doesn't matter. That community needs to be there, and that's what this organization does. So go ahead, and I want to get another donation push here. We're going to roll into the hate comments. So insult to injury, and I am really glad to have the hate comment connoisseur which is Godless Engineer, to read these in his signature voice that he does every Wednesday, right, on your channel. You read your own hate comments every Wednesday. And
yes, every Wednesday it's my hate comments as well as other stupid social media posts that I find. So.
Yeah. So I think these are going to be great. Eric Murphy and Thomas Westbrook helped me dig through my comments and find some of these. So I'm looking forward to hearing them in your amazing voice.
Yeah, and I have to say that, the reason why we read it in these particular voices and whatnot is because it really gives the actual, I guess, IQ level of the type of people that leave these type of comments generally. So, and all of this is to really take away power from the comments. Like, everybody leaves hate comments on the internet, but it for me, it's always healthy to just laugh at them and read them in a sarcastic voice like this. Oh, look, genetically modified skeptic simpleton is a limp-wristed, beta-male feminist bootlick. Is he a cock as well, eager to have a whore for a wife and the mother of his children? See, that was hard to read because I'm not his wife, and she's lovely.
I thought about that too. I was like, would she want me to have this on there? And then I was like, you know what? If it's in John's voice, then she might be okay with it.
So, Christian women who freely choose to follow the ways of Christ rather than the hideous trappings of the feminist cult are self-oppressed. Christian women embrace the dignity and beauty of feminine modesty and chastity. The sexually jaded, serially gang-bang skanks and baby murderers of feminism are hideous faux females. They are... Sorry.
It's okay. I needed a break from that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They are the vulgar, loudmouth, mindless, slogan-spouting NPCs of the state schools and popular culture.
I want to go ahead and give it up for Godless Engineer with that reading. And I want to give it up to all of the... I'm not going to repeat exactly what this person said, but all the people who are out there fighting for women's rights and get called all of this nasty shit. You guys don't deserve that. No. And I appreciate everyone out there actually, improving the world with their activism. So, shout out to everyone who apparently fits this description. But, John, I have to say, every time I hear that voice, I cringe a little bit because of the amount of earbud warnings that have been associated with the readings. Luckily, there were no all caps here. If there were any all caps, then I just want to let you guys know, yeah, earbud warning in the future. If you see any caps, he has a very special way of reading those.
I just want to see this wrist real quick. See how. No, it's pretty strong to me. I don't think the description qualifies. I think you're good. It's not limp wristed.
Well, am I a beta male feminist bootlick though?
I don't think so.
What is it a bad thing?
Do you want to challenge that? Do you think you are?
I'm just saying. I think that at a certain point, some of the things that people think are insults are not really insults. Like if you're actually a beta male, whatever that is.
Have you seen the thing where they talk about the beta male smile, where it goes like?
I thought that was the soy boy.
A soy boy smile. Either one of those.
I've been called a soy boy. I'm not sure if the comments will include that. Soy boy is good. Someone told me that I looked like I was retaining water all the time, and they told me I was a soy boy that was retaining water. I'm like, I have no idea. Is that an alt-right thing? Is that some kind of signaling to the alt-right? Like, yeah, that guy retains water, and you're like, oh yes, confirmed.
Retains water.
I share your ideas about that person, but.
I've never heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. But okay, so let's read the rest of my comments to this cuck.
All right. Its douche narrator is such a skeptic. I really hope one day something happens to him paranormal so that he tightens up his butthole the next time he tries to laugh at the shit.
Did you guys get it?
I think my butthole tightened after you said that.
Like
my butthole tightened.
Is gonna anally violate you or something? Like, is there a butthole raping ghost out there or something? I don't know.
My butthole tightened after you said that.
Please, can we
Objectively Dan, 2018.
I knew getting on this live stream was a mistake. Oh my god.
Let's get up to the $1,000 mark for tight buttholes.
Oh my god. I need alcohol in this mug, please.
Why did you bring me water?
Hey, you know what? That's why I always drink when I do this shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I can't judge because I think it's perfectly excusable. But
I'm kidding. Don't actually give me alcohol, you. Well, maybe actually. If you're offering it, I might.
we're gonna have Sarah Haider on the same stream that he talked about his tightening butthole,
Sure.
and you're gonna be like, so Sarah.
Eric Murphy just walked up and just got me alcohol from the fridge. You're so nice. Oh my god, thank you. All you have to do is ask, and it just happens. That's great. Thanks. You're a legend.
You know how this works, though. You're gonna get replaced by Thomas Westbrook if you get drunk.
That's true. That's true.
This is the only section where it's acceptable to be a little drunk, just
Okay.
to get through it.
So you're saying I got to pound it now?
You can.
Oh, well.
Another thing. So this guy thinks that being a skeptic is a bad thing. Apparently, literally, that's part of my channel name. Like, if someone's like, you're really a major skeptic. Like, yeah, I see that in you, and I'm like, thank you. That's great. I appreciate that. Like, someone told me the other day, you know what? You deserve to be an atheist, and I was like,
What?
thank you. But yeah, we'll see more. I think that this next comment is another thing that I don't consider to be an insult, but apparently it is to certain people.
You're full of shit. Just because you don't have patience doesn't mean they're useless. If you're a normal person, you should be ashamed of yourself. These oils are a blessing from God, and they are for the healers. Please don't start rumors. That's just the devil speaking to you, not rocket science, and let the oils speak to you. God bless. Peace, great hands.
So I say, you know what? This organization that I've been somewhat involved with, I think it's a cult, and here's why. And this person goes, "That's the devil speaking through you."
That's right.
That's their response.
I think the whole blessings thing is interesting because, I think you'd want to divide the blessings up to the people who need it the most. Like the Christian people already have the most blessings. You think the atheists would need more blessings to kind of counteract how that works out?
Yeah.
I don't know the math. I haven't seen the logistics behind it, but that's what makes sense to me.
There's a certain theology behind these comments like this. It's like people actually think that essential oils are gifts from God, like they're literally made for the human body specifically with medical uses in mind. And this company has figured that out and put them in a bottle. It's like you are selling a little bit of God juice in a bottle. And I'm like, you know what? That's kind of culty. And they're like, nope, not at all. It's completely the opposite of a cult. It's odd to me when people who aren't in that organization have trouble seeing that that's exactly how it is.
It's hard to see, especially if you've never encountered it too much. I think you have to. I think both you and I both know people who have been involved in that process, and if you ever go to those meetings and stuff, and you see how they initiate people into the organizations, it's pretty similar to how a lot of cults do it. I mean, there's the chanting, there's all kinds of stuff that they do, and the rituals and stuff that gets you kind of in there and gets you feel like you're part of a group that you want to be proud of, No irony included in that, doing that at the atheist community of Austin, of course. But
well, unfortunately, I shit on the God juice a little bit too much.
I shit out the God juice a little too much. Is that what you said?
Out of if your butthole's tight enough, that won't happen.
All right, well.
I think that this comment pairs well with the last one because if a ghosty scared you and you tighten your butthole shut, then the devil couldn't reach upside your ass and use it as a Muppet. So I think that both of these guys were working in cahoots, honestly.
Yes.
Godly ass.
Sorry,
Muppet.
John, your accent just makes it so much better.
Okay, next comment here. Oh, God.
Up is a clickbait hypocrite douchebag lumping Jones with Peterson, calling him a quack. You own a pug, bro. Peterson is just some talkative, goofy Canadian thrust in prominence for doing what he was already doing.
Why am I a hypocrite for owning a pug when I say Jordan Peterson is a quack when he says this shit? How does that compute? Tell me.
Hold on, guys. Listen, okay. Drew, fuck you and your... Pug.
Man, maybe there's some sort of like Jordan Peterson talk about pugs that's like an hour and a half long that you can find on YouTube about why pugs are bad or something like that.
Well, you know, the pug as a breed as a whole, roughly speaking, represents the
chaos.
archetypal representation of chaos itself,
Yeah, that's
or
right.
of the shadow, and that's something we want to enable in order to find meaning.
A pug, it has a narrative in our society that we need to uphold.
And the postmodern neo-Marxists are
Postmodern neo-
responsible for breeding the pug.
That's all right. That's it. You killed it. I can't top that. That's good.
Pretty sure there's going to be more Peterson comments.
Oh man.
Okay, let's go. Yep, there's another one.
Why don't you try to converse with Jordan? Maybe you'll learn a thing or two rather than blabbering around acting as if you know anything. No punctuation whatsoever,
Nope.
except for that one random comma that he threw in up there. Why don't you just talk about how to live a gay life, which is the reason you're attacking these people? What?
Me?
Is it because I'm gay or is it because I have a pug? Because neither one of those are an insult to me, but apparently their motivations, they're not like Jordan Peterson very
And
much.
look, I have a call-in show I do every Friday at 6 p.m. If Jordan Peterson wants to call in to have a talk with me, I'll totally do it. But yeah, the lines are open. I'll keep that challenge. But that's a comment for you, not for me. So maybe he'd do better talking to you. I don't know.
People ask me why I don't try to have Jordan Peterson on my channel, and I think, okay,
You don't have enough money to pay him.
Is
to
that
come on.
I feel like that might be a compliment.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Jordan Peterson would go on like a lowly YouTube channel. You know, I just like he'd go on like Joe Rogan or something, but he's not coming on my thing. And if he did, I would feel I get really weird vibes from him. I mean, I know that he's all about certain narratives, but if he's stooping as low as my channel, then I would feel a little weird about it. Maybe he's trying to step on me, or maybe he's completely changing his minds about things.
I don't know. I could turn a narrative on that where might be a good thing in some way. I think you'd want that.
Well, Jordan Peterson, if you were ever watching any of my content and you want to have a conversation, I encourage you to call in to Dan's show. Schedule that in advance. I will go on as the guest and we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, let's do it. Get those views. You know.
You have a filter on the phones to where you can filter out a little bit of the throatiness.
That's the thing. Here, if I got Jordan, like alternate universe, right? Jordan Peterson decides to call my show for some reason. Would anybody actually believe me that it was actually the real thing?
No.
I think people would think it was like a fake thing.
Yeah.
You know? But
this postmodern neo-Marxist is having
Yeah.
a fake Jordan Peterson.
it's a
come on.
conspiracy. I'm trying to make Jordan Peterson look bad by creating a straw man of somebody pretending to be Jordan Peterson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we got our next comment.
I think you did join a cult. It's called collage, dumbass. They brainwash separate you from your family and spread false information like climate change. You're the idiot. I have to say the eternal irony of saying you're the idiot and using the wrong "you're" to say it is palpable right now.
This is bringing back so many collage memories from me.
This is not a joke. I literally graduated college yesterday. I had my ceremony and everything. And let me just say, I went to college so that I don't have to make shitty comments like that on YouTube. So, got my degree with something.
Hold on. Now, Drew joined a collage. Okay?
That's right.
I don't know what collage he was joining or what kind of like.
There's a lot of pretty
arts and
pictures
crafts
somewhere, and
there.
his face was in there. You know, like he's in a scrapbook or
The
something.
picture of us cuddling in the office chair at Faithless Forum is part of the collage. So if you really want to know about my backstory, you got to dig for that picture.
It's a deep cut, but okay. Weird flex, Drew, but okay.
That's as old and worn out as they did surgery on a grave.
Yeah, well, you're the one that's still making the joke, so.
Okay.
Next comment,
We'll fight
John.
about
Let's
this
go.
later.
Woo!
Okay. You have a very punchable face. I liken it to a Steve Schatz, Kevin Logan, Jonathan McIntosh, Kyle Kowinski, Destiny H. Bomber Guy, or Demotivator Opinion Face. Why do all of you soy boys have the same pathetic fucking look? You have the look of that smarmy little prick in high school that everyone hated. The only nerd that no one cared got beat up by bullies because they were such cocking fucking little pricks.
I think all of those people he just listed are smarter than the commenter that just commented that.
Okay, I just realized this super chat is referencing something that John has said a bunch of times. I'm having so much fun for a good cause. My ribs are aching with laughter. 1 million God points to Drew. That's something that Godless Engineer.
Yay.
I've heard they're not worth a lot, but thank you.
So
they're worth about as much as Trump running the government. I mean, they might end up ruining your life.
So Drew, let's do some investigative journalism here. Why do you look like that smarmy little prick from high school? Like, what's the backstory?
So my backstory in high school is I can actually completely, I will contest this because everyone, or at least I hope, everyone in my high school loved me because in high school I was homeschooled.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. Way to go. Did they teach you how to make that joke in homeschool?
I literally just made a joke about that. My mom loves me, I hope.
Okay.
You're really trying to crush my hopes of at least making a few people laugh with my sad story.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was taught creationism in high school instead of like real education.
And I'm sorry for you, bro. But look, you're here now.
I got here as fast as I could.
Yeah. That's funny, though.
Okay.
Yeah, this dude's a dick. Let's move on.
Nice flat picture of world on your wall. Nice evidence of Earth not being glowed. Obvious shill right here. Also, government invented sunglasses to block out sight of UFOs and keep us from using another 90% of brain.
I love it. 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 I'm a shill because I think the Earth is round. Love it.
No. You're a shill because of sunglasses blocking out UFOs, preventing you from using most of your brain, and you think the world is a globe.
Yeah. No, because I was on, Thomas Westbrook just did a video. Well, he didn't just do it. Earlier this year, did a video on flat Earth stuff, and I was invited along with like 19 other people to talk about why the Earth's round, right? And like the first comments you see, and I re-uploaded it to my own personal channel to kind of spread it around. One of the first comments I see, the very first one says, "You guys are shills for doing this and stuff." I'm like, dude, like I wish the government was paying me to tell you that the Earth was round. Like that would be legit. But
Being someone that is paid to tell people that the Earth is round is called a teacher.
yeah,
And they deserve to be paid for all the shit they have to go through, especially with the flat Earth movement actually growing their membership all around the globe.
I appreciate that. That's true. That's true.
I'm interested in getting some of these sunglasses. Okay, we got our next one.
Okay. So I'm just going to read top down.
Yeah.
Rosemary, frankincense, myrrh, and others can cure cancers if used oftenly. Not useless, and you're fucking stupid. They can cure anything. The government is hiding cures for major diseases. Essential oils, and the food is stupid.
I like how you read FDA as I'm going to do it from now on.
That's a good one.
If people don't watch this stream, the next time I say FDA in one of my videos, everyone's going to be like, you dumbass, why'd you say it like that? It's fucking FDA.
I think the essential oil people wish the government was trying to stop them from selling these miracle cures. I think they wish they would have that much attention, but really it's just all bullshit.
Yeah, it's something that's supposed to, it's kind of like the persecution narrative. It's just like, it's that bit of theology thrown into something that's not like something spiritual necessarily. It's like, we have the truth, and there's this big force out there that's persecuting a whole bunch of us for believing this and trying to take away all the rights from the people who have the truth. And so it's like, yeah, the government's suppressing all of these amazing findings about essential oils. That's why you can't actually find any clinical trials involving actual human beings proving that they really do a whole lot of anything.
Yep. If I had the cure for cancer, you'd think that that'd be a good thing, right? You'd think you'd want to share that. I don't know.
I would think that the cancer researchers that actually cook that up end up being like, you know what? If my family gets cancer, I want to make sure that I can use this. Yeah. And instead, they're like, nah, no, $1 billion instead of any of my family's lives.
Right.
That's preferable. If there's someone out there like that, then they're an evil motherfucker.
Yeah. But that's what they think the government is. They think
that would be like a million. I mean, millions and tens of millions of people would have to keep that secret.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that just makes you sad.
Oof.
Yeah, let's go to the next comment, huh?
Okay. Right away, you're a fucking imbecile. There are, in fact, 16th century maps. That's the 1500s, if you didn't know. Which wouldn't surprise me because you have the intellectual capacity of a fucking map. That clearly depicts that we understand to be Antarctica before it was covered in a vast ice sheet. The map in question is the Piri-Reis map. Fucking Google it. Takes 5 seconds of your time to find out that you're actually a brain-dead chimp.
Yeah. I think the American public school system does use 16th century maps in some of their coursework, but I think that's unrelated to what this commenter is talking about, right?
I made a joke in my Gaia video because Gaia claimed that, there were maps from the 16th century that detailed like even plant and animal life and all of these geological features of Antarctica, and that those were to be trusted. And now if you know a whole lot about the actual map making of the time, there's a little embellishment here and there. You'll see little silly sea monsters swimming around. It's not supposed to be like, there's a 2,000-foot long sea monster in the middle of the Antarctic.
There's not?
Well, that's the public school system failing you right there.
Shoot, there it goes. I should have been homeschooled.
But this guy took decorations and was like, you know what? That is legit. That's the map that I trust. It was such a brief little comment that I made in my video about Gaia, and I had a lot of people talk about that thing specifically because they have some kind of fixation on the map. Now I'll really quickly address. I've told plenty of my friends about this, but I get a lot of comments. I've probably gotten at least over 100 personal messages telling me to switch the Mercator projection that I have in the back of all my videos into something else. And at least 24 people have told me that I'm very racist because I have that map, because it makes Africa small. And I don't know that all flat maps have distortions, especially the Mercator projection. And it makes basically where white people live, it makes those parts bigger, so that's racist. And some people have said they've unsubscribed because I'm a racist, because I have a Mercator projection in my background. So I was just making people aware of that issue. That
some people are also using 16th century maps to navigate the world. So, not everybody's opinion is exactly equal on the matter, I think.
Well, if you're mad about the map, and if you want to make up for apparently my blatant racism and map choice, go ahead and donate to ex-Muslims in North America.
Woo! Nice plug.
It's the least racist thing you can do right now. Okay. We have, I think that my last 3 comments here in the thing that you're reading from are kind of like love comments. Would you guys be able to go to the third from last? And we'll go through in just the last 3 minutes here a few love comments.
Love comments. Does your wife know about these love comments, Drew?
I think she does.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for this video. As a Christian, it is really important to hear the other's perspective. Important to hear the other's perspective. I think I've used quite a few of those arguments myself and have found them useless. Thanks for explaining why. My manner of speaking with non-Christians had in fact been evolving and changing from pure argument and discussion to listening, and I have been brought to a more sharp awareness of this perspective from your video. It's interesting that for Christians, we're supposed to be the messengers, not the ones to change people. I'm glad you've had the chance to hear such a message so much. Thanks again for a thoughtful and thought-provoking video.
I've shown some of the comments I've gotten like from atheists that say you've helped me in such and such a way, and those are great, and that makes things worth it for me. But especially on this video, just having comments that come from people who obviously disagree with me about things that they find even fundamental to their identity, that's huge to me. The fact that someone actually listened to that and feels informed and not attacked and feels like they can learn something from like an atheist YouTube video, That's amazing. I like huge kudos to this person that left that comment, and just thank you to my like Christian commenters and my Muslim commenters that disagree with me, but also feel like maybe they can learn a little bit of something. I want to be able to do the same thing with any of my theist friends.
Yeah, I have on the Truth Wanted Patreon, there's a pastor that donates to me. I'll say his name, Pastor Dean Meadows, and I'm just like, when I first saw that notification, I was like, that's actually super cool. Like, I was really excited. Like, okay, so there is this guy who makes his living basically on him being right and me being wrong, right? Like, there's not a more clear divide than an atheist dude with a talk show and a pastor, but he still is like supporting my show and stuff. And I just think that's really interesting that we can kind of reach an audience that may not always agree with us on everything, but are still listening to us in some way, is still hearing what we have to say, and hopefully absorbing some of that. You know? It's
pretty amazing. And to all my commenters and all of my subscribers that have disagreements with me but want to learn something and want me to learn things like genuinely because we care about each other. Thank you. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Now we have just like a minute left. So let's, I have this pretty amazing, I think it's an email that I got, and I think it's going to speak for itself. This is a love comment here. So this is one of my favorite comments I've gotten in a while.
If God made me in his own image, then he's pretty damn gay.
I love that one, and it's so often seen as an insult, and obviously, like, people in my hate comments are always saying it about how I'm effeminate or gay or whatever. I don't think they realize they don't really take that as an insult. It doesn't. I mean,
yeah, that's just. I mean, how could you make fun of this handsome young man right here? Look at this boy. He's a good-looking guy. You should take pride in those comments. You should say, yeah.
I've had a couple of things where someone has said, like, oh, I didn't realize you had a wife. And then there's like a long comments like stream of a bunch of guys being like, oh man, yeah, I was so disappointed in that. And I was like, Yeah,
me too, guys, me too.
What are you gonna do? But thank you so much, John from Godless Engineer. You've been an absolute blessing to this stream. And I think that everyone that's seen this and hasn't seen your comment reading videos has to go check those out. There's a lot of videos on that channel, and a lot of them are you reading your hate comments, none of which you deserve, obviously, but you make amazing content out of it. So every Wednesday, you got to check out Godless Engineer for those hate comment videos, and check out some of his other content while you're there. Thank you so much for reading.
Well, Drew, thank you for inviting both me and Casey on. Casey's really sorry that she couldn't come on tonight, but congrats on 100K, man. That's really awesome. I mean, I've been struggling for like 3 years, so I'll get there one day.
Well, you were my very first interview. You interviewed me for the first time. I'd never been interviewed before. And that really helped me get my start. So I owe some of this to you. So I really appreciate that. You're part of the community that I would not be here without.
Oh, look at that. So nice.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
We'll see you at Faithless Forum, John.
We'll see ya.
See ya.
All right. Oh, God. Okay, I'm actually feeling good now.
Palms are sweaty.
Laughter.
Knees weak.
Arms are heavy.
Vomit on your... Well, no, you're good. So, all right, you're good.
Okay, so we have another game here that is going to be with a few ex-Muslim YouTubers and an ex-Muslim activist that runs something called Faithless Hijabi, and that is Veedu Vids, Mimzy Vids, and Zara K. I'm super psyched to have you guys on here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Thank you.
Well,
yes.
So, right before I ask you guys this question, I have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the skill that Veedu Vids has of doing impressions. And you knew this was coming.
Oh boy.
If you don't mind, we are going to be playing this game in a little bit. I just would like to ask if you would be able to throw in a little bit of Zakir Naik impression to you telling us whether or not we have guessed correctly about this. Also, if I ask a very good question, make sure and let me know that, brother.
Well, you see, the brother asked a very good question. He said that is it permissible in Islam to be an atheist? But let me tell you, that being an atheist is extremely illogical. Let me tell you, where did you come from? Mother and father, right? Mother and father, did you come from the sky? No. So how can you tell me that the universe has no creator. It is completely logical. Oh, that's the question.
That was awesome.
Amazing. Okay, so
It's going as well
Yeah.
as we're going in the game. But yeah, so we have our little game set up.
yeah, and before we jump into that, I want to ask each of you where you would be without the atheist community, or for you without the ex-Muslim community. I want to start with Zara.
Where would I be without the atheist community?
Yeah, or the ex-Muslim community.
I would still be a Muslim. A progressive Muslim. I would still be under my rock. And just not hate gay people, not drink alcohol. I like alcohol.
You can't argue with that.
We're all getting amazing quotes from this stream. I don't know if you guys saw earlier, we were saying something about tight buttholes.
Please stop saying the word butthole, please. All right, I'm already going to regret that when I watch this tomorrow, so don't make it worse.
We were just talking last night about our most embarrassing moment on stream.
Yeah, good thing I wasn't there, so.
Well, at the after party, you'll get to recount this, or I will for you. Okay, so Mimzy, where would you be without the ex-Muslim or atheist community?
I don't know if I'd still be Muslim necessarily, but I'd be really depressed. I think it's really isolating, like leaving the religion. I think I spoke about that in my last video as well, just kind of like how I just felt really lost and alone and kind of miserable, because it was kind of like, especially, I don't know other religions, obviously I know Islam really well, but the way I grew up is everyone I knew was Muslim. Literally, I didn't have any non-Muslim friends. Like, that's how lame it was. So everything I kind of, my community, my school, I went to a full Muslim school. So it was like, literally, I didn't see non-Muslims. So for me, it was like suddenly everyone hated me. And I was like, damn, like I have no one. So having the community is so important for people. And I know I get messages of people just saying, oh my God, there's someone else that has the same thoughts as me. And it's just so nice feeling like you're not alone. That sounds so lame, but it's true.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right.
And she wouldn't have met me, so.
Now,
made my life like
I was actually wondering, because I've been talking to you both, I was actually wondering whether or not you guys would come in as one, like just one feed, because I know that you're both like somewhat close to each other at the moment, which is not usually the case, because Zara at one point at least lived pretty far away.
No, I mean it's like 1:30, but yeah, we should have planned that, really, Zara. We're so stupid. We were out last night together actually, but
okay, nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on at 1:30 a.m. in the UK.
Actually, I was going to say it's 1:30 a.m. So that, and work tomorrow would have made it a little difficult.
Yeah, and also there's an ex-Muslim policy that we don't want to be too close to each other, because if one of us gets killed, there's a high chance that others get killed as well. So you want to spread out across the world as much as possible.
That's not even a joke. Like, I have some friends.
That was a joke.
As in, I have some friends that are like, I am okay with you being ex-Muslim, but we can't hang out, because if you get like acid thrown on you, or if you get like attacked, I don't want to get attacked.
Wow.
Like, legit, people have said that to me. I'm like, wow.
That's really frightening. And like, you come from a kind of more, you come from like a more liberal family, and like I think you were Sufi at one point, right?
Our families are liberal.
Yeah, that's
our families
crazy.
are liberal, but our communities are. I mean, mine, not maybe yours, not so much.
Yeah.
My like community, like my parents were always like, oh yeah, just ignore them. Like they're saying music's not allowed and stuff. Like everyone else around me was extreme, and my parents weren't. So I always just felt like we would like naughty or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I think that Veedu has a pretty good, some pretty good insight on whether or not music is haram and whether or not everyone knows.
That's true. That is true.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, you gotta go ahead and plug that video and plug your channel too.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you guys who are dying to know whether or not music is halal or haram, for those who don't know, understand what that terminology means, it's basically, is it permissible or is it not permissible? Is it permissible or not permissible? Is it permissible?
You have to say it with the lisp. I feel like you can't say it without the lisp.
So
I can't do
I don't know how you pull the lisp off. I really can't pull it off.
I mean, I can't either, but hey.
Yeah, there you go. So
I just point at him and he does it.
Yeah, so the thing is, luckily for me, I've got a gap in my tooth, so that allows me to get a lisp. So that's one of the advantages of not wearing braces. But anyway, so if you want to know whether music is haram or not, you can check out my channel Veedu Vids, and it's actually the first video on the page, and it's a nice, interesting song, and hopefully you can listen to it, but not too much. But there you go. You'll see.
That's amazing. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get started, and we're going to learn a little bit about whether things are sinful or whether they're acceptable, whether they are haram or halal. So Veedu, as I understand, has drummed up a few questions.
I think at this point I'll be learning it as well.
Oh, really? Okay. I figured it might just be Dan and I competing. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these you might, I don't know, because I was saying a disclaimer though. Go on, Zara.
I was going to put in the Shia perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Put in a few of them.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that you were Shia. Yeah, I don't
I
know
wasn't a
anything
Muslim.
about
I wasn't a Muslim. I'm an ex-Shia. I'm not an ex-Muslim.
Oh, okay. So we were like properly Sunni. So we were like to Shia, like no, like that wasn't that wasn't cool.
I wasn't allowed to have Sunni friends because they're all Wahhabis. They kill you.
Yeah, no, we couldn't be friends with Shias because Shias weren't Muslim, so they didn't count.
They're kafirs anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to say a disclaimer in case there are any kind of moderate Muslims out there that kind of make a big fuss. We are aware that there are kind of more liberal versions and gymnastics and stuff like that goes on. But I mean, whatever you believe, that's fine. But this is basically the kind of mainstream views.
Yeah.
Basically.
So number one.
Okay. So the first one is clapping haram?
Haram or halal? Clapping.
Haram or halal?
Do people... Okay, so I think that people clap for a lot of the speakers that I've seen. You know? I think maybe they're just cheering and they're drowning it out.
Yeah, plus like this, like at that point it gets kind of crazy because like what if I do like patty cake with Drew? Does that count as clapping if it's another person's hand?
I feel like it would also depend on what the sexes are of the two people.
That's also true.
Because if you get too close, then it's not okay.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And so I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's false.
A-okay.
So sorry, are you saying
they're saying it's halal?
It's
I'm
halal.
saying halal, yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, well, it's actually haram.
No! Whoa, dude, we suck as Muslims.
Yeah. The reason is, so basically, I remember going to events and when people started clapping, they would, if anyone did, because they didn't know, whatever, they're like, no, you have to say Allahu Akbar, which is Allah is great. So that's the Islamic version of kind of celebrating something. Yeah. Because if you clap, there was basically back in the days, apparently they used to clap to worship or something like that. The pagans used to clap to worship. And so we can't imitate that worship. And even if you're not worshipping, we can't imitate any kind of idol worship.
Yep.
It's interesting because the Shias beat their chests when during Muharram. So I'm like, that's still kind of like making that clapping noise.
Oh yeah, that's.
I've heard you talk about that actually. Was it Secular Jihadist that you talked about Shia with Armin Navad because he's an ex-Shia as well, and you talked about like beating your chest and wailing, and as a kid being basically told like, hey, you have to be wailing and crying. I don't remember at what point what like tradition that was.
It's definitely the Shia 12ers culture or whatever. You're meant to hate yourself during the month of Muharram, which is the first month where the Prophet's grandson was martyred.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he died, and the Prophet's granddaughter would beat her chest because she was so sad, and now you just continue the tradition by beating your chest and then or cutting yourself. Or kids, you just take a blade and then cut the forehead of your 12-month baby or 2-month baby, and I've seen this live in Syria and Iraq.
Yeah, but clapping? No, can't have clapping. That. No. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do the next one?
Sure. Scrabble.
The game Scrabble? Does this include like the Facebook version of it too, or is it just like the original? They have something against Hasbro specifically. Okay.
Well, yeah. Facebook is haram anyway, so I guess that counts that out.
Doesn't your Twitter banner say Twitter is haram, bruv?
It is haram, bruv.
It does, yeah. It's pretty great.
Scrabble.
Oh, gosh.
So what do you think?
Haram. I'm just going to go with, I have no idea.
I guess if you use it in certain ways, maybe. I don't know.
Not saying un-Islamic words like atheist. I suppose, you are allowed to, play it. What do you think? Scrabble is haram or halal?
I'm gonna say
Drew's gone
haram.
I'm gonna say haram. I'm gonna say haram.
I'm gonna say halal. I know this
It
is
is
not
halal.
for me, but
Oh, okay.
we were never brought up with Scrabble. I'm
You
not
can play
a Scrabble
Scrabble.
champion.
Okay, so like the way that I was raised, I mean, luckily my mom was able to convince a certain other side of my family that this wasn't the case. But there's a lot of fundamentalist Christians that think that playing cards are evil.
Yeah.
Yes, we
so-
do too.
Yeah.
we do
okay.
too.
Yeah, because they're associated with gambling, but sometimes people think that they can
Exactly.
be like infested with evil spirits because gambling invites that. And so I was like, I
Something like that.
don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's like if you can say naughty words with Scrabble, then the tiles have individual jinn inside them or something.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Is hanging family photos in your house haram or halal?
I mean, I know that there's limitations on
I'm gonna say haram.
actions of people.
Yeah,
Now,
because
if we say haram, does it sound like we just are like, oh, you guys are fucking idiots?
no, well, it's just since we've never been inside a Muslim person's house before that we can't answer this question. Is that I think that's all that says about us.
It's well past that point. Don't worry, it's well past
Here-
that point.
my reasoning is like some sort of idolatry, perhaps. Maybe you can't have people's. I don't know. I feel like that's wrong though, but I'm gonna stick to it. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm gonna say haram.
Yeah, same.
Haram. It is haram.
It is haram.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but no, that's terrible. But
Yeah, so you can't have any living things, so including animals, photos up on the walls of your house.
Because
So
the angels won't come in.
the angels won't come in, and having eyes generally, like devils like them, jinns is what they call jinns.
Yeah.
So jinns are attracted to eyes. So any eyes,
Yeah, and
not good,
exactly. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
basically.
then
Yeah.
why in like the most conservative of Islamic societies are the eyes the only thing that can be?
Oh, you found a
That's,
loophole.
that's
Got
evil
'em.
eye. That's for the evil eye.
Islam destroyed by atheist skeptic.
I feel like Ben Shapiro. For
Yeah,
the
Okay, cool.
Okay, next one.
yeah.
Next, sorry, just broke up there. So is Nike haram?
Nike, as in
Nike as in
the tick.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
Nike.
brand.
Nike.
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 Okay.
Nike. In the UK, we say Nike, but yeah, okay.
Okay.
Nike.
In Australia, it's Nike.
Nike.
What?
Okay. There you go.
go.
Is Nike?
know
Oof.
that.
Well, doesn't Nike make like some hijabs now, like workout hijabs?
Yeah,
I thought they
actually,
did.
yeah.
I thought they did.
So
Yeah.
the halal
Yeah.
then.
I would
gotta-
say halal.
Okay, so according to the YouTuber Dawa Man, it's haram
Oh.
because Nike is based on the Greek goddess.
Of
Nike
course.
victory. So it's a form of sort of idolatry or
Yeah.
paganism or whatever you want to call it. You can't have a brand that's based on a Greek goddess or a god or like. He
Yeah.
actually even said if you were to have a T-shirt with the Thursday on it.
Now, I was about to say the Thursday thing,
What?
right? Because isn't that Thor's Day? So you can't have that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sorry guys, but you have to throw away your Nike hijab.
I mean,
My
that
bad.
that one's a bit kind of, it is Dower Man.
It is Dower
That's-
Man, so
Okay.
it's not going to be mainstream Muslim. I
So-
mean, what the mainstream Muslims will probably say, well, the moderate ones maybe will say that it's lost that meaning, so
Yeah.
perhaps it's okay, but it's probably better to steer away from it just in case.
But if I go to a conservative Muslim country right now, just Nike geared all out, is that going to be offensive?
No.
All right, cool.
But to be honest with you, they might not even know the background of it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you'll be all right.
It's kind of like the
What
Christians that get
about-
really mad at the monster cans. Have you seen
Yes,
that?
I've seen this.
Yeah, there's a viral video where this lady's, obviously she's rehearsed it, but she's explaining how Monster Energy drink is like the sign of the beast, and on the back of the can, she's like, it says that MILFs love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Isn't there like a 666?
666,
Yeah,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Oh my God. Okay. Go on.
Okay, so this is the next one. This is an interesting one. Now, this is a multiple choice. Which one of these are haram for men? Cotton, silk, or wool? Cotton, silk, or wool?
I'm going to say
To wear,
trick
of course.
question. They're all halal for men, but it's haram for women. Yeah, because that's how this stream has been operating. Throwing those curveballs.
We've got it. I'm gonna say that wool is haram? I don't know.
Okay, the correct answer is actually silk.
Silk.
That's haram.
Men are not allowed to wear silk.
Yeah.
And why is that? What's the reasoning behind that?
The reason is silk in those days was basically very, very expensive, and they just felt like men shouldn't be too, what's the word?
Extravagant. And also,
yeah.
they also say that if a man wears silk, it's almost like they're becoming feminine, because women wear silk. They treat themselves like
men are not supposed to be too extravagant. They're supposed to be
men are meant to be tough
modest,
on horses and camels and whatever, you know, whatever, fighting, not wearing silk. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Women actually had more rights then. They were allowed to wear silk.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, they could dress up nicely, but not in front of, you know, anyone that could potentially be in love with them or marry them.
So they can wear.
Okay.
It's like sister.
Can't wear silk for the people you want to wear silk in front of. Yeah, that's.
Sister, there are so many rights in Islam. You can wear silk as much as you want at home.
Literally what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's another multiple choice for the men as well. So which of these are haram for men? Gold, silver, or diamonds?
Okay, I'm taking my answer again from the last one because I thought it was pretty good, but it was just the wrong time. So here it is.
Okay.
Drew.
What? Okay, so I'm going to say diamonds.
And the correct answer is?
It's gold.
Gold. For exactly
the same reason, yeah.
Same reason.
So,
yeah, sorry, go on.
men aren't allowed. There's quite specific. Is that the same for Shias, Zara?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so we can't wear silk or gold.
Actually, in the Hadith, it's actually silk. It's mentioned silk and gold at the same time.
Yeah,
so
together.
these are things that are feminine, are very expensive. Men are supposed to be tough and humble. So men, no silk, no gold.
Contrary to popular belief, we are actually Muslims.
Well,
oh,
we were the real ones. Even though I'm ex now, we were the real ones.
You're on the wrong live stream if that's what's going on.
Well, according to Ali Dawa, you guys are all fake ex-Muslims. You're imposters that are just pretending to be ex-Muslims for some reason, right?
We're all fake something one another's. I think everybody out here.
Well, I want to.
You were real Muslim and leave, and then you're fake. So it's like Schrodinger's Muslim. You know. Whatever.
Yeah, and you only leave for emotional reasons, but if you join, it's because it's totally logical.
That's
exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also I want to thank you guys formally for obeying your post-colonial master's orders, like Ali Dawa says you do. If you don't know who Ali Dawa is, people on the stream, if you don't know who Ali Dawa is, he is a pretty popular Muslim YouTuber, and he's in the UK, right? Like, he frequents Speaker's Corner a lot, doesn't he? And
he does.
does a lot of fundraising for his ministry and for, like, Mohammed Hijab's ministry, and he reacts to ex-Muslims a good bit, and it seems like he's never actually listened to what an ex-Muslim has to say, but he is willing to speak on their behalf all the time.
Not just speak on their behalf. I mean, the first interaction I had with him, he commented on my video, Why I Left Islam. So that was one of the first videos I uploaded. And he just completely decided my entire life of why I left. He said, a Muslim person had upset me, that's why I left. And just a bunch of other stuff. Like, he just decided he knew exactly what it was, and it had nothing to do with my video. It's just hilarious to me. I love how they become psychics. Like, they just know everything.
Therapists, psychotherapists.
Yeah.
You become a mind reader if you're dealing with someone who's left your faith.
I feel like a lot of times he targets women. I think he just gets more attention like that. He just targets women, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like,
Well, women are the most precious in their eyes, because if men leave, fair enough, but the women leave, then that's a whole generation.
Yeah, because here's the thing: they have to make an example of you. If they can if they can make this narrative work for you, and you're these kind of more higher profile people than some of the other people, then that becomes an example for other people to look at and say, "Oh, I can look at this person's experience, and now we can extrapolate that." You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm actually going to later when we do our we look at some memes. There's a couple of Muslim memes in there, and I included a it's like Khabib destroys female in the audience video, and it's from Ali Dawa. So we're gonna take a look at that later. So you get to see what Ali Dawa finds to be hilarious a little bit later on.
I actually did a video on that one.
Yeah, he just did a video on that.
Yeah. Okay. And because what this is the whole irony, right? You know, like we're on the theme of halal of haram and halal. You know what is haram, technically speaking? Boxing.
Yeah, we didn't even put that.
Yeah.
Boxing and doing any martial arts where you're hitting someone in the face is haram. No debate. This is not even a controversial one.
Yeah.
Yet some of the most celebrated Muslims are like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Amir Khan, Khabib, all these guys that beat people up for a living. And I've got no problem with them. But all these Muslim guys are like, oh my God, yeah, Khabib. But when like a sister takes off her hijab or shows a bit of her hair, they jump on her, yet they celebrate the guy that's beating people up for a living, which according to their own religion is haram.
According to their religion, it's haram money. Like it's their whole career. Like Islamically, that's just like not a thing
it's like
all.
sinful money. You can't even accept that.
But he'll make a video celebrating him, and then he'll make another video of like Dina Tokyo, who if anyone doesn't know, she's a huge Muslim YouTuber.
Yeah.
He made like loads of videos of how she took off her hijab,
and they went after her, man.
They really like went in on her. Anyway, side note.
So, do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's get another one, and then we'll talk about what you guys all do as far as your channels and activism, because I want to make sure that you guys get a good plug here at the end of the section.
Absolutely. So let's do a quick one. Which one do you want to go for?
We've got a few here, so let's pick the good one.
Should we go for this one?
Okay, go on.
Go on then.
Okay. Do you think baby showers are haram or halal?
Baby showers.
Baby showers. That's an interesting one.
I'll be honest, I've never seen a Muslim baby shower, but that doesn't say a whole lot.
Yeah. Halal?
Have you ever had a Muslim kid?
Yeah, well, no. Not quite. No.
Random thing to say.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a Muslim kid?
Wouldn't he? I mean,
Never had a kid, period, just for the record. Like, that's not a thing. Muslim kid. Yeah.
I don't even look old enough to have a kid.
You are a kid.
Exactly.
That's true. Wait till Shannon Q gets on the screen and starts telling us about how we're all children on here. So
yeah, that's what happens.
So
all right.
what do you guys think? Haram or halal?
Halal?
I'll say halal this time. Why not?
Okay. What's the correct answer?
It's haram.
Ah, of course it is.
Why?
Basically, the theme of this, so as this is the last one, I'll just give you kind of a key to knowing what's haram and halal. If there is something that isn't spoken about in Islam, the Prophet didn't do it, he didn't speak about doing it, it's called a bid'ah, which is basically an innovation. So it's something that's brought in that he didn't speak about, he hasn't recommended. If someone else is doing it, so let's just say some Christians decide to do a baby shower, you're imitating a Christian, which is not allowed at all. So those two things, so something that he hasn't spoken about and something that a non-Muslim is doing is not allowed.
Yeah.
So instead of defaulting to, it doesn't say anything about this, so it's probably cool, you default to, no, this is terrible, it's haram, we can't do it.
Yeah,
that's the more extreme view.
That's the kind of mainstream kind of literal view, basically.
Yeah.
You will get the moderate people who
do baby showers.
will do that.
Okay.
But you'll get people that kind of do lots of things.
If there are any Muslims out there watching this, please invite Dan to your next baby shower.
Yes, please. That would be an interesting experience. I'd learn a lot from it. So
I think I've gained a couple more.
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I didn't actually know that. The reason I put that one in is because coming from my own kind of more liberal family, I threw a surprise baby shower for a friend of mine. And that's how I got to find out. And I invited a bunch of people and I was like, come over. And they were all just like, this is so freaking haram. Like, what is going on? And I was like, oh no.
That's terrible.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Did anyone stay or what? Did they just leave?
Show up?
I mean, they were pretty much just like, let's just go and make like dua, which is basically prayers, because that's the best thing to do. And I had all these baby shower games and decorations, and I kind of just went in the corner and just packed them all up. And just like, I was like, okay, never mind.
Wow.
Oh no.
That's terrible.
No.
So before we get off here, I want to make sure that everyone has a minute or two to plug what they do. So like we did last time, we'll start with Zara. Tell us about what you do with Faithless Hijabi and your recent, very effective Twitter activism.
I have a new one out as of last night when I was getting drunk with Veedu and Mimzy.
Oh, yeah?
Faithless Hijabi is a Facebook and Instagram page. It is aimed to empower ex-Muslim women, curious Muslim women. They come up with questions, their stories. I don't intend to convert anyone. I just present my findings or people who've already been like, become ex-Muslim but are in hiding, and they find a place to share their story. So I listen to them, and then I collate all their stories, and then I post them up. That is so far it's just been a forum where people can talk and share their stories anonymously. But I'm looking to expand it to actually have psychologists on my like on a YouTube or a podcast thing to talk about.
We had you break up just a little bit there.
Oh,
sorry about that. I think you're back.
Okay, cool. Right,
But,
I thought it was your connection, but
will you make sure and leave a comment in the chat here for anyone who wants to make sure and like click on if you have a YouTube channel that you wanna put out there, or if you want to just tell people what the name of like your Facebook page is in the comments so that they can go ahead and check that out. And I really appreciate you coming on. I know that you've done some things with what is it, Atheist Republic. You've done a bunch of streams with them, and I've seen you on Secular Jihadists as well, which I am hoping to be on relatively soon.
And she'll be on my channel soon as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna do it together.
Cool.
We have unfortunately just about a minute left, but Veedu and Mimzy, you guys want to tell us what you're all about, what your YouTube channels are for?
So I'm Veedu. This is my wife Mimzy. My channel is Veedu Vids. My wife's channel is Mimzy Vids. There you go. That's pretty easy for you guys. But basically, I do a lot of videos on comedy and satire on Islam, on prominent figures in Islam who do sort of preaching and dawah, as they say. Zakir Naik, Ali Dawah Man, and some other guys as well. So check it out if you're interested in comedy and satire. My wife does a lot of commentary videos and gives her thoughts and ideas on Islam and other issues, and makeup tutorials if you're into that kind of stuff, So check that out as well. And thank you so much for having us on, and congrats on your 100,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh, Mimzy, you had something to say?
Sorry, to interrupt you. I was just going to quickly say also, we obviously love ex-Muslims in North America. They're so amazing. Sarah Haider, Mohammed Saeed, they're just so epic. Yeah. And so we're so happy to be kind of supporting the charity as well with you. But yeah, just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
I was wondering if Zakir Naik had a change of heart about ex-Muslims in North America, and if he wanted to give us a little push for donations here at the end of the segment.
Oh boy. That was a very good question. He said, what do you think about the ex-Muslims of North America? But let me tell you, the ex-Muslims of North America are the worst charity in the world. But if you're going to donate to one, please donate to them today. I will make an exception for all the atheists and all the hellbound people on the earth, that if you want to get to heaven, please donate to the ex-Muslims of North America. Oh, that's question. Thank you very much.
Let's give it up for all of my ex-Muslim creator friends here.
Oh, that was so awesome.
Awesome. And thank you, Zakir Naik. That was absolutely excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, thanks for coming on. And we're about to shift over to some cringy Christian, Muslim, and atheist memes. This will be very interesting. So if it's not too late, hopefully you guys will stay tuned. But if you actually need to go to bed because it's like 2 a.m. there, that's good. That's just fine.
Thank you.
We're going to be watching, don't worry. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Later, guys. Okay.
That was, Drew, your channel is both educational and entertaining. It's almost like it's edutainment, you could say. That was really good.
You couldn't say that.
Okay, well.
Don't say that.
I mean, I'm just trying to help.
No, please don't. There's a reason why I have 100,000 and no, I'm sorry. But I think that we have reached the midpoint of the stream, or a little more than that. So let's get a big push for donations for ex-Muslims in North America. Later, our last segment is going to be an interview with Sarah Haider. But right now, we're going to be looking at some memes with my friend Shannon Q and Paula Gia. How are you guys?
I'm terrified.
We're
Happy
great.
to be here, but also scared.
That's exactly the right response you need to have, Shannon.
So there's a long running tradition on my channel dating all the way back to the 10,000 subscriber special, and that is exposing Shannon, who and Paul, but Shannon's more reactive. The most normie people that I know that are actually willing to let me do this to them. I'm sorry. And just having them react to memes. And so the whole backstory kind of thing is Shannon's, well, she reacts to these memes rather in a vitriolic way. And the reactions are just absolutely priceless. And she makes amazing content, but seeing Shannon Crack gives me life. Let's just say that.
I'm usually so calm.
And Paul fucking hates memes.
I do. Worst thing in existence. Yeah.
So originally, the whole thing, like when on the 10,000 subscriber special that I did, it was so long ago, like a year ago, I was like, oh, I need to get Paul, who I heard from Shannon, like he hates memes, so I need to expose him to memes, like for charity, and it'll be like, oh, you know, donations will flow in every time he expressed how much he's suffering. But you know, I found out that Shannon, holy shit, was really entertaining when she's being exposed to these memes she's never seen before. So before we get into this, where would you guys be without the atheist community?
You go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead, Jen.
Okay.
It's that Canadian politeness going on the stream right now.
No, absolutely. I would be friendless and familyless and all those kind of things. When I came out of my former faith, I basically lost everyone I knew, and so I needed to actually go actively seek. It occurred to me, I guess I better find some new friends now. It wasn't before starting with them, and then you know the friends I found on YouTube when I expressed what I was feeling. I just like this swarm, and I know you feel the same way.
Yeah.
The swarm of support around you. It's like everyone was telling me, get your voice out there. Your voice is unique, and like just the incredible support and never anything else has been amazing. So yeah, absolutely. I value so much the effort, and thank you so much for doing this charity stream, because it's all that I wish for everyone else coming out of whatever faith it is they're from.
Of course. Shannon.
I would feel isolated, I think, if it weren't for having the community online to commiserate with, or even to even as a viewer, because that's how I started. I started out as a viewer who was, you know, I've often said I was alone in dark rooms listening to my phone, because that was the only way I could find people that thought like me. So I would have felt really, really isolated and repressed, as though I didn't have somebody that I could express my ideas with in a safe environment. And now as a creator, I can't express how valuable and wonderful the community that we exist within is, like including you, Drew, and Dan, and Paul, and the list goes on, like John and Godless Cranium and the Non Sequitur Show and Steve. Like I had never intended on even creating content. I just wanted to be part of dialogues, and the trajectory that I've been on, just because of the support and encouragement of people like you, has helped me not only to find people to commiserate with, but allowed me to add my voice so that I can try to at least be somewhat of a beacon to others who might need it, who were in the state that I was initially. So it's valuable, incredibly valuable.
And I think that I can speak for everyone when I say that you are that beacon that you're striving to be. I think we can all agree on that. Like, you make amazing content, and you're absolutely an example of positive and constructive discourse within this sphere. So, you know, if it wasn't for you, yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Shannon, if you weren't around, who am I going to bully on Twitter? There's nobody else. It has to be you.
And now let's all make me miserable.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to go ahead and switch over to my computer feed here, if our producers can bring that up. I'm going to be switching through some of these memes, and Shannon and Paul will be rating each one.
And before you ask, Shannon, don't worry, I curated some of these memes, so get ready for that. Me and my girlfriend, Christy, who's in the audience right now, is very excited. She's wanting you to see some of these. So
I got one of my favorite memes from there. Okay, so our first meme here. When God's presence touches you during worship and you didn't expect it. Whoop-ah! What do you think? This was actually the very first meme that I found when I was searching on a certain page. Apparently,
The Holy Spirit works in mysterious ways, Shannon. You know,
Yeah.
it affects everybody differently.
Sometimes
yeah,
it hits
brain
you.
damage. Potentially. That's...
According to some of the atheist memes we'll look at the end that are really just as cringy, yes, apparently being a theist gives you brain damage, which that is not an idea we promote here, but...
No. Not getting at... Yeah, that means not getting at the right thing.
Yes.
Dan, would you like to do the honors on this one?
Sure. It says abstinence, 99.99% effective.
I found this on a Christian page. I was like, this is so self-aware. I love it. It's actually a good Christian meme.
It's pretty good. There's only a few people that, the Jesus' mom, Mary, Madonna, I'm pretty sure talked about it too, being a virgin and giving birth. No, she doesn't talk about giving birth, but talk about being a virgin. That's it's part of the whole motif. So yeah,
There's
a lot of them.
But yeah, the fact that Joseph bought this story, that in and of itself.
It's like God, right? Okay.
I think there was someone on Dr. Phil not that long ago that was saying that she was pregnant with Jesus, and everyone now thought that it was pretty crazy. Probably just as crazy as if it really happened, people thought that it was then. But that the kind of response videos that get made to people who make those kind of claims, they're pretty interesting, and I think that in all times people have been pretty skeptical of that, but apparently not the Father. Not the Father. Not at all.
No.
But we forgot to rate the last one. What's our unit?
We have a rating system?
It needs to be 1 to 10, but 1 to 10 what? Last time we did
-3.
Let's see. How many
yeets?
Yeets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
yeets?
yeets? 10 is good, 1's bad.
Yeah.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how many yeets does this get?
What's a yeet? What's a yeet?
That's a very good question,
It is,
Shannon.
yeah.
Very good question. You should do the research, look it up on your own, and then you can give us a report afterwards and tell us what you find. Okay?
I probably hate you.
Probably? Well, that's a step. That's a step
Probably.
up from
That's a
last
step up.
time.
You graduated more than one way.
That's right.
Graduated twice this week.
The benefit of that was not earned in this case.
All right, studio audience, how many yeets?
What is a yeet? Oh god, now I've got to Google shit. I hate you guys so much.
You guys gotta shout it. How many yeets? How many yeets? I'm seeing 3 yeets. 3 yeets. How many yeets? Okay, I'm seeing 3 yeets on all the way to 10. Apparently, this didn't get very many yeets.
No, this is 4 at best.
4 yeets. Only 4. Yeah. Last time we did spicy.
Yeah.
Shannon, how many yeets for this one?
It's just pictures of ET. I don't even understand what's happening.
Shannon, if you knew what it was, this wouldn't be as funny. So, just go
Dan,
with it.
Is this bitch empty?
Yeet!
What is wrong with the two of you?
Come on, Shannon. Come on.
I said -3. Do I have to stay within the scale? Because if
We're not even the youngest. We're not even Generation Z. We're millennials.
Yeah, we're millennials.
You need to catch up if you got to get on.
That's not an excuse for being ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense.
I have to say, I want to make sure that we get at least to the last meme eventually.
Yeah, we gotta keep moving.
because
Keep moving.
the last meme hits that yeet so hard because I made it. So next meme. Next meme.
You read it, Drew.
All right. When you told them to be the salt of the earth, but they choose to be salty to everyone on earth instead.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's actually.
I got this one.
Oh, yes, she did it.
Good job, Shannon.
How salty are you about this whole thing right now, Shannon? I want to know.
10 yeets.
10 yeets. Oh wow. Now you understand yeets. All right.
I googled it.
This would have been much better if they had done a WTF coming like bubble from Jesus here.
Yeah.
We have some amazing videos. I don't know if
I do see a Catholic memes. What is that?
Lit
Catholic memes at in there on Jesus' back. So if you want to get more of your great lit Catholic memes, go to that Twitter account, I guess.
Full endorsement, apparently.
I'm
Oh
all
wow!
Yay!
Oh yes, yes.
I know her.
And I told Mr. Atheist that I would try to reference his video on this. Mr. Atheist made a response video to this video, so if you want to see that, it's well worth watching. But we'll make sure that the audio works here. But I think that this is gonna. She tries to hit that yeet pretty hard in this.
Drew, you need to stop. You're making me cringe right now. This is really bad.
Okay, let's get this going.
Oh God, help me.
In life, and how do I do that? I go private before I go public. So I spend time in God's Word. And it's really good. And it fills my soul. And so when my soul is filled, I can't sit still because I can't contain the beauty that God just did in my heart.
Don't do it.
You have to express it.
Don't do it.
And I just love how he loves to join with me. And sometimes when we waltz, I just take his hand because his hand is righteous, and his hand is my stronghold, and his hand lifts me high, and his hand upholds me. And I'm reminded, okay, God, you're my escort into this day.
Oh, wow. Okay, that took a turn. Escort.
Oh, my God.
My favorite is I go private before I go public.
Oh, my gosh. I knew people like this in high school. Did you know people like this?
That dance with invisible people?
Not to this extreme, I'd say, but like I definitely knew people who had the note cards, who had the morning routines and stuff like that.
We thought dancing was haram. So
Okay, yeah.
all dancing, any
That's right, I
dancing
forgot.
at all bad, not okay at all. So
That one was not okay.
This was not. This was
So
not
dancing with the Lord, even more haram than that. That's crazy.
No. Well, the thing is that our theology was essentially that there's a certain act that you call a horizontal tango, and doing it vertically is just as bad. So yeah, even with Jesus.
But Drew, did you not when dancing was okay? Didn't you hear the phrase "always leave room for the Holy Spirit"? Did you have that phrase?
Yes,
we had that phrase, but it was really more applied to when you're sitting next to a female in church. Yeah, that's really what it was. You like put a hymnal there, like long way, not like this.
It gets hot and heavy in those worship sessions where Drew goes to church. Let me tell you.
I think I put my arm around a female friend, like a platonic female friend, and that was like I didn't hear the end of it for quite a while from people that weren't even like my parents. It was, we didn't leave room for the Holy Spirit apparently.
Yeah, wow.
Hymnal was there, but So how many yeets?
I don't know. I'm gonna give her more because I'm concerned for her emotional well-being because she dances with invisible people, and I feel like that's not okay. That's not super conducive to living a healthy life. So I'm gonna give her 8. I'm gonna give her 8 yeets.
8
and a show of
yeets.
support.
8 whole yeets.
8 yeets.
Well, I know that her soul is already filled with the Holy Spirit, but if she needs some extra yeets to make up for any space that's left, and she has 8 yeets to fill her soul with.
Yeah,
all right.
Enjoyed that. That's
You're
good.
welcome.
Anything can be a dildo if you're brave enough.
What the hell is happening? What is
And now there's an audio recording of me saying that out there on the internet. Thank you, Drew, for putting me up to this. I really appreciate that.
Anything can be a dildo. Anything can be a dildo if you're brave enough.
Right. I can't wait when my future employers find this after I just graduated from college, and they're going to see this, and they're going to see me saying this. So that's really awesome. Thanks, Drew. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Is there anything about today you don't regret, Dan? I heard all about your butthole earlier.
I can count it all in one hand, all the things I don't regret today.
That's good. That's important.
I just like how there's a cross here. I mean, obviously that's what makes it a Christian meme, but I found this on a Christian meme page. It wasn't posted by the page itself. It was a response to a meme that I think one of the other memes we've already looked at, and it was not supposed to be related in any way. But it had a lot of angry reacts on there, and the angry reacts only meme has tanked. It is. Rip. It's press F in the chat.
It's the old rugged cross, Shannon. The old rugged cross.
Oh God!
Oh wow!
God, everybody stop existing. What is happening? Oh my God! What is the implication of this even? Like,
Excuse me? Do I need to explain the implications of this image to you right now?
No, from a Christian perspective, what's the implication? Like, what
I
are they
don't
trying?
think a Christian made this one.
I don't know that a Christian made this one, but I found it on a Christian meme page as a response, so still. But, oh yes, okay, this is the song. This is really, I think that the girl from the last video probably dances to this on a daily basis, and if she doesn't, she's missing a serious jam here. A little context, this is a real youth group, real song. This is apparently actually a real thing, and this was done a cappella, let's say, and someone went in and added a little beat here. So we're
I'm
about
predicting
to...
in advance that I've done whatever they're about to do. Whatever they're about to do, I'm sure I've done it.
I think that I've, unfortunately...
I'm scared that I might have done this. I haven't seen this.
Okay, let's check this out. It says, please, yeah, that's something the author
Yes, it's channeling
added.
my thoughts right now.
Oh, we're not getting any audio from that. Uh-oh.
We don't need audio.
Can you,
That'll do.
Drew, you need to sing it.
That'll do.
It's up to you.
I'm not.
Can
I'm
you
not singing
recite
alone.
everything from this video?
Let's try it again here.
Oh
Give
my God,
you
I've
guys
seen this before.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Let me see. Oh no, it's still not getting any audio. I'm not sure if that's on my end. But so what we're gonna do here is Dan and I are going to sing this and do the dance.
I don't know what this is, Drew.
One more
Look at
time.
the enthusiasm.
Okay, you're gonna have to copy me. Everyone's gonna have to copy me, even in the live studio audience, because if it's just me doing this, that's gonna be worse than quote mining. All right, let's do this.
Help me.
Virginity is cool. Come on. Virginity is cool. Let's go. Virginity is cool.
Let me hear you say it.
Virginity is cool.
One
Come
more
on.
time.
Look how enthusiastic. Virginity is cool. Come on. Virginity is cool. Let's go. Virginity is cool. Oh, now I want to die.
Great. More clips to add to the pile, Drew.
Look exactly how proud
Really
they are.
awesome.
Look how proud they are of this. Well,
Look how excited the old people are.
I think. And of course, the person adds, "I hate myself" at the end of that.
Wow.
There's a pretty sick beat that goes along with that. Hopefully, you guys are able to drag that or find that somewhere and see the original audio.
Why do you hate me so
This is
much?
What do you mean? This is an act of love, Shannon.
What is happening?
There is no greater love than this, to lay down one's memes for one's friends.
Oh God.
I predict that
This is
in
why he's
2
my
years,
co-host.
that half of that room will be subscribed to Drew's channel.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well,
It's for a good cause. It's for a good
it-
cause.
For a
it's
good cause.
Yeet for a good cause.
That's how I'm gonna help sleep at night.
We passed $1,000. All right, we passed 1,000. All right, guys, awesome.
That is awesome.
So, Shannon, how many yeets for preserving one's virginity?
1, because I can't go 0, and you wouldn't let me go into negative numbers. So 1.
I'm pretty sure that the last time we had a stopmasturbationnow.org meme that said, and I have this clip cut out on my Twitter somewhere, that's like, you'll never climb the ladder to heaven with your hands full of penis. And you... And do you want to share what you had to say about yourself?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think I said anything. It's weird. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
Yeah, that's a very specific thing
No.
to talk about, Drew.
I don't mean to slander, but I just remember Shannon saying that you were not climbing the ladder to heaven.
I never liked ladders anyway. Ladders are stupid.
So,
There you go.
So I'm okay with that.
I think
Paul doesn't like ladders either. he endorses my hatred of ladders.
so. Paul, how many yeets for virginity?
Yeah, like whatever the lowest I am allowed to give it. I feel awful for everyone in that room. So yeah, no, 0.
Minimal yeets. No yeets.
No yeets.
This game, no yeets.
0
Nonetheless.
yeets.
It's okay. Okay, so I think we might be getting close to the end of our Christian memes. We'll break into Muslim memes in a minute. But it was my turn, right?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, when you get brother in Christ zoned, little heart there, as a friend. We have both experienced.
You just brought up some deeply seated memories in me, Drew.
Yeah,
some
no,
stuff that I
that's-
put away after I graduated high school. I did not want to revisit those today.
Paul, you have
That's Bible school. That's not so good.
Well, no, go ahead, Shannon.
The origami fingers are creeping me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
I remember
Significant amount.
I remember one time when Dan and I were talking about like different skills that we have, and you like brought, well, obviously don't do it, but you brought up that you can do like the blood thing, and you're like, yeah, this is a thing I can do. And
Yeah,
was like,
because I went to a public school, Drew. That's what happens when you learn. You get to learn to do that.
My mom couldn't do it, so I couldn't either. Okay.
Oh, true. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this happened to me like plural amount of times. I've been told this in the youth group back in the day, and I probably mostly on my end, it's my fault. But like hearing it as an excuse, it's kind of just like, really, like you could just tell me I'm ugly or whatever it is you actually don't want to go out with me with.
God is leading me in a different direction.
Yes, I've heard that.
Which is away from you.
Yep, I've heard that one too.
So how many yeets, guys? How many yeets?
Oh,
I
this
think
one's
a good meme.
This one gets 9 for being true.
Wow.
Yes.
9 yeets.
9 yeets.
Shannon?
I'm going to give it 5, just because I would cry too if my fingers did that. So I don't know.
All right. 14 collective yeets from the board. It's not bad.
I still don't really get what
Okay.
Muslim memes. Now we got just a couple of these. Dan?
The thing says, Mom, can I go to, you can't go with your husband when you get, you can, oh, I fucked it up. I'm sorry. Mom, can I go to, and then it interrupts with quotes saying, you can go with your husband when you get married. And then there's like a really intense looking weird face zoomed in on a Muslim girl. So
smile through the pain.
Yeah.
What it says. This is funny, but also sad.
Awful.
Yeah.
It's also, it's really sad. I don't
really,
know.
That's awful.
Yeah, I mean, especially when this is literally bringing up like, hey, can I go out? Can I leave the house? And it's like, you know what? No, well, you can go with your husband anywhere you want when you get married. So,
you don't have male accompaniment.
Looks like we might be getting a guest coming in here for our next segment, just a little bit later. But
shh, quiet.
How many yeets on the Muslim meme?
0, because that's awful.
0 yeets, Paul.
I have to give it 2. I have a feeling it's probably feels true to a lot of people. So just for a little bit of truth value, even though it's things, I'm gonna give it 2.
Okay, we got 2 yeets.
I give it 0 because fuck that.
True.
Yeah.
We'll see if we have audio on this, but I referenced this earlier. Let me make sure that I should be good there. Let's try this. If it doesn't work, then we'll just have to move on because I don't think I can really imitate this one particularly well. Let's see.
Привет, I have a question for people who want to get into the fighting industry and start a fighting career. What tips do you recommend, especially for a female?
For female, I have very good advice. Be fighter inside your home.
Put me in your house! Put me in your house!
Oh shit.
Oh god damn.
I would be scared. I'd be very scared, Shannon.
So just in case anyone couldn't understand it, because it's pretty muffled. It's like a phone video. But this is Khabib, and he is like the top UFC fighter in the world, I believe, right now. He beat Conor McGregor, and he's Muslim. And there's a lot of Muslims in the Muslim community that really look up to him, even though apparently a lot of interpretations say that punching people in the face is haram. But yeah, this girl asked how she could get into the, the fighting life, how she could make a career out of that. And he says, oh, sister, be a fighter in your home. And the crowd goes wild and clap, which is...
Is this an anti-meme, Drew? Am I supposed to laugh because it's not funny? Because
this was shared by Ali Dawa. Ali Dawa, who's the really famous Muslim YouTuber, titled this like Khabib destroys girl at such and such event. It's like, really? You destroy her future with misogyny? Okay, yeah, that's accurate enough.
Well,
I don't think this is gonna get very many yeets.
No, I don't think so either.
That's no yeets.
I abstain from voting out of sheer fucking rage. Are you kidding me? People clap for that?
0 yeets.
0 yeets. 0 yeets.
Okay, this one is one that Dan got me. Dan?
Yeah, when the beat is fire, but the lyrics are definitely not beneficial to our relationship with the Lord.
God, Steve Harvey. Oh my God. Okay.
I like this one.
I relate to this one as well. I remember hearing this, like driving with friends, youth group in the car, and being like, "Oh, we really shouldn't play that because it's just not uplifting." You know, I remember when I worked at church camp, we were discouraged from playing secular music and stuff. It was kind of the same thing. So,
so how many yeets, you guys? This one gets like 9 yeets from me, but how many yeets for you guys?
I'm still coming down from the last two.
Let your rage fuel give you energy.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of truth value to this. I mean, but I got to give it like 2 below what I normally would because they were too lazy to spell the word your. They spelled it your, which I can't deal with. So, I mean, everything's permissible, but not everything's beneficial. Get some spelling, kids. Anyway, 7 they get. I like my memes to be grammatical.
Yes, English criticisms of memes with Apologia, a new feature coming up on his channel. It's going to be really hot.
So I'm going ahead and going because we just got a minute left. I'm going to the last 2.
Meme lightning rounds.
This one was shared by. There is a Twitter page that's called The End of Memes, and they share really bad atheist memes. Like this one's got serious like distortion issues. I mean, it's just terrible quality. The meme is not really that funny and makes Christians like, it kind of misrepresents and makes people sound like they're super fundamentalist. And I don't know if you guys follow Cosmological on Twitter. He's a YouTuber, but he likes to also make a lot of jokes about how he never makes videos, which is a little bit true. But he's a great follow on Twitter. But he shares really bad atheist memes, and I got this one from him. Now, his page posted this meme to just show that there are bad atheist memes out there. And so I zhuzhed it up a little bit for him. And this is the version that I made. And I sent this in, and he shared this from his page. Not sure if I should educate Christians or become a preacher and make Despacito too. This is so sad. Can we hit 69 likes? Hit that MF like button.
This meme is so good. This is beyond transcendent. You really need a history in meme art and meme education, like art history, to understand the levels that this meme that Drew has reached.
There are layers to this meme.
There's layers to this meme. I'm so glad I graduated college so that I could just, kind of disentangle some of the intricate, deep metaphors and symbology going on in this meme.
I want to do an MRI of Drew's head right now after looking at this.
Well, we're about to have to switch sections, but I want to ask you guys.
Man, this is a 10. That's a 10. That you're a genius.
10 yeets. 10 yeets for me. Shannon, how many yeets for your boy?
Perfect score.
It's the layered subtleties. The
layered
nuances.
Can we keep the yeets going? How many yeets for me, Shannon?
Drew is the Van Gogh of memes of his time. He's going to be remembered for the great art he makes here in this life.
I'm giving you 3, but only because I like you, because I have no idea what the fuck any of that is. What the fuck?
I'll take 13 yeets.
What does that even mean?
Unfortunately, we're going to have to move on because we're just a couple minutes over. But thank you, Apologia and Shannon Q, for coming on and letting me expose you to these memes.
Congrats,
and
man.
thank you for giving me yeets as well as subscribers. I really appreciate it. So let's get another push in donations as we switch segments. We are about to have Cosmic Skeptic come on for a Q&A, and we're going to have your boy, Holy Kool-Aid, Thomas Westbrook. Just came out of nowhere. There we go.
That was way faster than I thought you were going to come in there.
We might have to squeeze in and cuddle just so that we can all be on screen.
Elephant in the room
Hello,
here.
hello, hello.
So if you guys heard the audience laugh at a random time earlier after I said, we might be getting someone, it's because Thomas may or may not have crawled underneath the camera in the studio and come around to this side.
It was pretty amazing.
The carpet burn scars.
Yeah. I wish we had that on camera, but the fact that he was underneath the camera means that you can't actually watch it, but it was great.
Yeah.
It was pretty
I should have
amazing.
live streamed it on my phone just while I was crawling.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But I think that we have Cosmic Skeptic probably patiently waiting. Look at that. It's your boy, Cosmic Skeptic, Alex O'Connor. What's up?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm hoping I'm in the right place. I was in the was put into this queue as I was waiting to come on, and I signed on and just heard a massive voices shouting something about virginity being cool, and I'm hoping that it's not some kind of mistake.
It's like purgatory. They put you in there, you serve your time, and then you move on to greater places.
Yeah, that's great. If this is where you're going to after purgatory, then I don't want to be a part of the process at all.
So with that, we're gonna go ahead and go into our very more serious question. We've lost so much in seriousness in this, talking about buttholes. You especially going on and on about buttholes.
Yes, true. The buttholes.
So we're gonna
It's an obsession.
Yeah.
So
it's a pretty tight obsession. Alex's face.
I try to keep a very clean image on my show. I'm like the Mr. Rogers of atheism, and you guys are just ruining it for me, okay?
Wow.
Gosh.
How's your butthole, neighbor?
I'm good. Go. Keep moving on. Come on, let's go. We got a show.
Thank you, Alex, for coming on. And I, of course, have to thank you for essentially making my tiny platform really substantial really quickly with your, massive endorsement of my channel last year. The reason why we did a 10,000 subscriber special was because I collaborated with Cosmic Skeptic and got 5,000 subscribers in 48 hours. So I can't thank Alex enough for believing in me and allowing me to have that opportunity.
Well, it's kind of you to say. I highly doubt that you wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. Since you mention it, though, interestingly, I remember the last time I was talking to you on the stream was the 10,000 subscriber special. And I wrote something in the background that I forgot to show you. And as luck would have it, it's still there. I don't know if you can see.
It's a little out of frame.
It's Happy 10K Drew. You can see that.
Can you add an extra 0 to it?
Just like
That's what I was thinking. I may now be able to ceremonially. It's been sat here in my house for the past however long it's been. So that's the amendment.
So you're just going to keep squeezing zeros in there until...
I'm going to keep adding zeros so that eventually...
Till the end of time.
On your million subscriber...
or until his channel gets taken off by YouTube.
So once it's Drew versus PewDiePie, then trying to go for the number one spot, you're gonna have zeros just all the way around.
Anything's better than T-Series right now.
Yep.
Anything.
Sub to PewDiePie.
The fact that even I know what that's referencing to just shows how big of a deal that is within this whole memeing
We can't let Bollywood win, man.
Whatever that means.
These fucking meme lords, I swear.
So
Alex, that's the person with the degree in memology.
Yeah, is that what I said? Oh, well,
it's basically the same thing. But Alex, so where would you be without the atheist community?
Well, okay, so, whereas a lot of the channels within this community that you make reference to, which, by the way, I think is important to distinguish that atheism is not a community, even if there is such thing as an atheist community. Starting this whole thing, I wasn't so much intent on becoming a part of that because all I really like to do is philosophize. I don't really care about, or didn't really care or know very much about the sociological effects of religion. I just cared about whether or not it was true. So for me, the community that existed online was a philosophical one of people who thought the same way. It wasn't so much a refuge for people who were suffering from the abstinence from faith. That's something that the people who've been on this stream so far would know far more than I would about. So I'd like to think that without it, I'd still be doing the same thing. But that isn't to say that since I've been able to communicate with these people, I've just been absolutely inspired. In fact, I wouldn't have the same fervency behind the philosophical views because to me before they were just kind of trivially interesting. But now I recognize the absolutely existential quality of what these ideas can do and the effect that they can have. And it's because of this community that's sprung up of the very fact that there has to be such a thing as a community for people who used to do something or don't do something. The ex-Muslims of North America is a great example. I mean, why on earth should such an organization have to exist? But having access to that and being able to converse with these people, the main effect it's had on me is the inspiration to not just make videos about the plights of these people, but also the philosophies that underlie the shunning that they're experiencing.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that, and I think that we all have similar through lines in all of our stories, even though we have different experiences. And well, you were an altar boy at one point. I have to bring that up, but you weren't necessarily raised the same way that someone in a Muslim community would be, or someone in a more conservative Protestant community would be, or how Thomas Westbrook and we share a lot in our stories. So you want to give me your 30-second version of, I know there's a lot of things that the atheist community has done for you specifically and the way you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've become really active in it just because I was so immersed on the opposite end. But coming out of it and, coming out of an intensely religious background of missionary parents and, being a missionary myself and everything, like, when you emerge out of that, there are so many different things that you have to wrestle with. You have to wrestle with changing your worldview. You have to wrestle with this post-deconversion depression, with feeling, ostracized and shunned and alone, and having your parents tell you that, their faith is more important to them than their own kids, and that, you have family members saying you're doing the work of the devil. And I think that the atheist community for me was a place where I could turn to realize I wasn't alone, and that there were other people who, especially in the Deep South, were going through something similar. So it was extremely uplifting, but also trying to navigate that space of, okay, how do I now make meaning of things? How do I find purpose in life? And that's been tremendously helpful. And finding, especially, the YouTube community has been so supportive and they're every step of the way. The skepticism, learning how the world works and the process of thinking it through it's invigorating and it's fun. You get to wake up thinking, I wonder what I'm going to learn about the world today and how I can know that. And this community has helped me along that journey, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's what we want for ex-Muslims as well. We want everyone to have a place to be able to be welcomed in and have a place where they, first of all, feel safe, but can learn and experience that kind of community. And of course, an ex-Muslim can join the atheist community at large, but a lot of the time, there needs to be a kind of a specialized type of community to make sure that all of their needs are met. And that's what Ex-Muslims of North America does. Totally worthy cause, making sure that people who have left their faith have a safe and fun and kind of nurturing place to be as they deconvert and as they go through their kind of deconversion journey. So let's get another push for donations. We got over 1,000 here, so let's keep it going. Let's have a good number to show Sarah Haider. But what we're going to do in this section here is have basically a Q&A. So I'll need people in the chat to ask questions. If you want it to go to me, then tag me. Alex, I'm not sure if you're watching the chat right now. If you want it to go to Alex, if you're able to monitor the chat, then tag Alex there so that it lights up. And if you want it to go to, well, if you want it to go to any of the three of us, you probably want to tag any of us.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get some questions going here.
So I guess while we're waiting for questions, let me just say this is very, very interesting for me to stand in between these two guys and Cosmic Skeptic on the screen here, because I remember watching these guys before I was doing anything on YouTube, and much of the people that have also come on the show as well. These people have inspired me to create my own content and go out there, and I hope as you continue to watch this stream and watch others that you continue to support not only the Ex-Muslims of North America, but also your other content creators, and give the push out there to give a diversity of voices. I know this is like 4 white guys talking about diversity of voices here, but it's really awesome to see more and more people come out and make more content and stuff. And I can speak for all of us when I say we love interacting with you, we love talking to you. So just want to give a quick shout out to these guys for making their stuff. And thanks to you guys, the listeners and the watchers who get to talk with us and hopefully donate to this really good cause. You guys are what makes all of our content worth making.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you've actually met Cosmic Skeptic. Have you guys streamed or anything?
We've never actually talked before this moment. Now, hi, Cosmic Skeptic. What's up?
It's a pleasure to meet you. How's it going?
It's really, really awesome, and I'm excited to be. I never thought I'd be on the same stream as you or any of the people on here, but I'm certainly glad to be here. So it is awesome. It's just an awesome time.
So I have a question here from Cosmological. Actually, has my stance on anti-theism changed at all? The thing is that I think I gave a certain amount of information on my ideas about anti-theism, and the things that I've expressed I don't think have changed at all. There have been certain things that I didn't necessarily put on my channel because I was not completely sure about them, and I didn't want to have anything I stood behind with that. And so I've had some things change in the way that I look at things. I think some people would get really, really upset. But I think that in certain instances, I can see the benefit, and I think that we do need to replace things that that religion gives people in a lot of instances. And I think that I would emphasize that point a little bit more now than maybe I used to, but I didn't like disbelieve that entirely before. I think that's just a slightly more important point to me now. So that's changed for me. Alex, I think that you were tagged in that too. If you want to take on that question or another you were tagged in.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's similar to you, Drew. It's very easy to quite quickly just jump to complete admonitions of religion, but it's foolish to say that there's absolutely nothing beneficial that it brings, if just for the fact that if it weren't for that being true, there would be no, it wouldn't have survived in our sort of psychological evolution. I mean, it has to have something going for it, right? And equally, I spend a lot of time thinking about the effects of what I'm saying, as any of us should. And, you know, I think back to the first time I moved into this house, and we went to our new church, and it was around Easter time, and we sat down, and this elderly lady who sat next to us just turns to me, taps me on the shoulder, and just says, you know, I hope you and your family have a wonderfully happy Easter. Just absolutely one of the purest messages of goodwill I'd heard, and I think about that lady, and I think, would it really be better for her if I were to find her and try to convince her that the organization that she was taking a part in was fooling her, and she had no reason to stay with it? Well, of course she does. I mean, I wouldn't wish to do that, and that's something that we have to struggle with. It's not as simple as just saying, oh, you know, we're right about this. I believe in the philosophies that I'm talking about, and therefore I'm just going to have them heard from the rooftops. You have to recognize that some of the things that you're saying can have some dangerous effects. And so for the idea that in any given situation, at any given time, the right thing to do is to try to spout this complete aversion to religion, I don't know if that's entirely true.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Yeah, I think I've had really similar thoughts to that. Holy Kool-Aid, I think you have a couple of questions in there if you want to answer one.
So I have someone asking if we can all stand up.
Can we do that without our
just to see how giant Dan is?
Yeah, I guess this is to shame me. You can't even see me on the camera.
Yeah,
you can't see how tall we are.
I don't think this works very well.
Good question, Thomas. Really good use of our time. Thank you for that.
That's the only one. That's the only one I saw that I was tagged in. So, there's one that said, "How is my shoulder?" I mean, my shoulder's fine. There was a while back, I think I talked about how I had a faith healing experience where I thought that my shoulder had been, my shoulder had been injured, and I thought it had been healed because I got, someone prayed over me and I felt this adrenaline rush. And then I was sitting there trying to do, I was doing gymnastics at the time, but I had a shoulder injury. And so I was trying to do back handsprings, and I wound up hurting it more. But that was years ago. It's healed up since then. I don't really have any pain, but at the time it was one of those things where you didn't want to hurt the faith, and so you kind of propagate this miracle, and you tell people, oh yeah, I felt this amazing power of God, and you don't tell people afterwards that it was just an adrenaline rush and the placebo effect, and it's all in your head. But yeah, no, it's fine now.
So I actually was tagged in a question, but it was something that I want to relay to Dan.
Okay.
Because essentially, I'm not sure if I can find it back here, but let me see if I can. I want to make sure and get this. Oh, actually, here we go. Objectively, Dan. No, you were tagged in this.
Oh, cool.
Objectively, Dan. Through SE, I've come across people who don't see believing in truth as necessary, and since most of SE starts with that, I'm having trouble keeping the conversation going. Suggestions.
Yeah, so real quickly, for those who don't know, SE is short for a thing called street epistemology. It's a thing I sometimes do on my show. It's just a method of talking to people about their beliefs, and it's something that I endorse on Truth Wanted. I like people who do SE, and I'm friends with a lot of them. So when you're talking to somebody who doesn't accept traditional definitions of truth, that can be kind of tricky. And it's honestly a good thing, because people have different ideas about what that word truth means. I always say on my show is called Truth Wanted, not because I'm telling you what's true. I want to know what you think is true. You're never really going to find somebody who doesn't believe in something, right? they may say like, oh, I'm a nihilist, there's nothing that I believe in. But if you're a nihilist and you're saying that it's all, that's kind of a belief if you're saying that nothing actually matters. And that's something you can at least examine, right? Whether or not you even categorize that under belief in like a philosophical sense or whatever, that's still something worth talking about. That's still something worth having a conversation about. So I would say to somebody who is having trouble with like this idea of objective truths or subjective truths or whether or not these concepts exist, I mean, the first thing is just you got to tease it out. You have to figure out what people mean when they're saying these words and what's an example of something like, let's say they don't believe in objective truths. They don't think that exists. Well, okay, what would an objective truth look like if it did exist? That's one way to kind of start a conversation. Maybe you'd say, okay, well, is there an example of the opposite of that? Can we tell a lie, and can that be related to a truth somehow? Like, does that mean that if I'm just saying whatever statements I want, does that mean that I can tell no lies, right? Because that there's kind of a negation to that there. So there's different methods of approach. I could probably do maybe a video on this later on, but I'd say that definitely check out some other SE channels as well that kind of talk about this, like Anthony Magnabosco and Reed Nicemore's Cultural Curiosity. See how they do it as well. I mean, you can check out my videos as well. And it's an interesting thing. It doesn't come up super often because a lot of people that do talk about it, they're being disingenuous. They're just saying, yeah, there's no truth, man. It doesn't exist. But there are some people who do kind of take that position, and it's an interesting one to talk about. So
that's a hard one for me to handle, and I'm glad that you have a handle on that one because I'm not great at it. Do I maybe do that? Okay.
There you go.
So Alex, I think you are up if you had a question.
Oh, I've been keeping a little eye. I haven't got one in particular. I don't know if you've seen one.
I saw a good one for Alex.
Okay.
How do you feel about the feminist community parting with or siding with Islam and supporting Islam?
Oh, I mean, that's reflective of the absurdity of the left wing of politics in general supporting this. Well, it's not absurd because I think that the left wing of politics, the modern left wing, and it means slightly different things in the US to the UK, but I guess US liberalism, as you'd call it now, has this innate inbuilt tendency to just systematically side with marginalized groups. And there's no doubt that the Muslims are treated horrendously in many ways, especially in the United States. But a lot of that comes from a misfiring of aggression towards an ideology that ends up hitting the people instead. And the problem is that when you have a reasonable person who begins to have certain questions, they might be reading philosophy for the first time, and they might come across the ideals of classical liberalism, of freedom of speech and religion and the First Amendment and all of these admirable things, and then they look to Islam and they see that it's completely vacant of any of these things. And they start having some questions. Where are they going to go? Do they go to the liberals who will not hear them for a second and will tell them, look, you've got to stop that right now, buddy. You're on a dangerous path. Or are they going to go to the other extreme of people who they may be saying horrendous things about a group of people rather than the things they believe in, but at least they're going to agree with this person. At least they're going to say, well, look, those are legitimate concerns. And you know why that's a problem? You know why this group is so anti-free speech and anti-free religion? It's because they're just terrible people and they need to be eradicated. They need to be ignored. They need to be pushed to the margins of society. This person has no choice but to flock over there because nobody else is willing to give them the time of day. So if you want to call yourself a liberal and you also want to stop the rise of these crackpot far-right organizations, then you are standing on your own tail if you're trying to do so by siding yourself not with the people but with the things they believe in. You need to make that sharp distinction very, very clear. You can be a liberal who fundamentally supports the right of somebody to believe things that you just completely not just don't like but despise. I mean, things that you believe are threats to the fundamentals of civilization. It's not as though the things these people believe are just trivially wrong. They are incredibly dangerous. They go against every fiber of my being. But the reason why I think that people are willing to support that, even though nominally they're completely against it, is because the people who happen to espouse those views in particular countries are a minority and therefore are treated as most minorities usually are, which is, so to speak, not that well. And there's a bit of a trouble. It's like, what do you do as a liberal? Do you stick to your guns and with the ideology, or do you stick to your guns with protecting marginalized groups? And it's obvious which one American liberals have gone for. I would say fallen for, because the danger of allowing a marginalized group's ideas and unifying ideas to be criticized is dangerous. You know, it's not necessarily going to work out that well for them. They might suffer some serious side effects from that. But the side effects of doing the alternative are far, far worse. And I don't think that these people have had enough time to really think about it, because it's so new, so newly emerged onto the political scene. So I think
isn't that
that's why it happens.
The way that you put that at the very end, at least, isn't that a bit of a false dichotomy, siding with the people or the ideals?
What do you mean?
So if, you know, I don't think that we have to necessarily give up our ideals and our values, and if we want to side with, or take care of people who are marginalized and treat them with dignity, and if we want to, protect their rights, especially, here in the South, there is a lot of bigotry towards people who are different, and not just towards Muslims. And I think that we can stand up for people who are marginalized and still say that the ideology is abhorrent, and that there's things in the Quran that are the fundamentals of Islam that do subjugate women, and that they do treat women basically as property, and they treat gays and homosexuals as non-human. They have a death penalty for apostates. Like, these are things that are completely counterintuitive to enlightenment. Like, they're contrary to enlightenment. You cannot have a world where you have both things at the same time, to a universal extent. And so, it's you can still have that value and say, hey, like, Islam, cannot exist in the same sphere. You cannot have an Islamic state in the same sphere as you have Enlightenment values and freedom and equality for all. You can still have those values and still say, but we're not going to treat these people, with contempt. We're not going to treat them as lesser people. We're going to address them, as a person, as an individual, and try to bridge that gap and reach out to them. And I think that's where the disconnect and the divide comes from, is you have so many people who they're not able to see eye to eye. They're not able to relate to Muslims at all, and they just see them as monsters or as horrific people, when it's simply their indoctrination that's led them to that point, in the same way that my indoctrination had led me to think that being martyred for Jesus would be a good thing, when I was a missionary. And I almost, I could have seen myself very easily going down the route of John Chow, who just got killed in North Sentinel Island. And so it's like, I look back and I can empathize with people, because I understand that the upbringing can get me to the same positions as them, and at the same time say, but what can we do to approach them, whether it's using street epistemology and the methods that you use, with the Socratic method, or ways to say, you know what, I see you as a person, I care about you as a person, I can bridge that gap, but this ideology is dangerous, and here's why it's wrong, and I want to help you out because you're my friend, and let's seek truth together. And I think that once we get rid of that false dichotomy and we're able to protect the person and attack the ideology, that's when the walls start coming down, and we're able to actually support liberalism without having this crazy ideological extreme version of it.
The reasons why that dichotomy has begun to spring up, I think, is because of the fact that by the very nature of identity politics, it's one unified feature, that the identity becomes the politic and the politic becomes the identity. If you insult freedom of speech and the autonomy of the individual, you insult me. And similarly, if you insult the Quran, if you insult the message of the Prophet, it's impossible to do that without insulting the person who believes in the message. It's all very well and good talking about the distinction between people and the ideas that they hold, but it's not so easy. Especially, it's especially with the case with the religion, but within religion, especially the case with Islam, which is a doctrine based on the idea that they have access to the literal, unchanging and unchangeable Word of God. It's very difficult to criticize that separately of the people, because if you become a Muslim, by nature of the religion, I mean, Islam is submission. So you are submitting to this idea. It's not just a belief in the idea. It is becoming a servant to this set of doctrines. So it's very, very difficult to insult that set of doctrines without insulting the people. I wonder how you think you can get around that, because otherwise you are left with a bit of a dichotomy. You either choose to insult the ideas and unintentionally, inadvertently, but definitely so, also insult the people, or at least play into the popular shunning of them that's happening societally speaking, or you have to kind of stay clear of it altogether.
Yeah, and I think that there are ways that we can get there, but it doesn't happen overnight. Just in the way that, you know, when you're deep in it, the way that Drew and I were, like, we didn't become atheists overnight. It was a very long journey. And that's where organizations like Ex-Muslims of North America are so important, because, you know, I lived in the Muslim world for about 15 years. And so I know a little bit more how they think and the types, the ways that they talk, and the things that upset them, and you know, and obviously I'm making a big categorization here. You know, obviously it's going to be very different talking to, you know, a Shia Muslim versus a Sunni Muslim versus, you know, a Sufi or something like that, and if you're in Turkey versus Indonesia. But at the same time, there are certain commonalities that are the same, that, you know, even in my situation, because I was never a Muslim myself, I'm not able to connect quite at the same level as someone who's an ex-Muslim, someone like the next guest, Sarah Haider, or like, you know, Veedu or Mimzy or Zara and some of the others that are in this organization, and ex-Muslims of North America, ex-Muslims of Great Britain, you know, there's ex-Muslim groups springing up all over. And this is huge. Supporting groups like this, those are the people who are able to know what they can say and what they can do to bridge that gap, and what words can help.
Okay, well, really well said, guys. This is a really cool back and forth here. I am going to answer this question really quick. How does worship differ from just thinking deeply and frequently about something? You call it worship. That's about it.
Wasn't it you're more subservient to it?
I would say if you call it worship, because there are people that are going to call plenty of different things worship, and if you want to study what is seen as worship in the real world, you have to consider what a lot of people consider worship all around the world. And it's just like the true definition of Christianity. You can't have one true definition. You have to study what people consider to be Christianity all around the world to be able to understand what Christianity is in reality, how it's practiced. So,
but if I worship you, am I not like putting you above me versus just thinking about you?
It's God is real and His name is Jesus. Be baptized in Jesus' name.
I think just to
thank you for $5.
God's servant just gave Genetically Modified Skeptic $5
awesome.
on the stream.
Well, unfortunately, we do have to come to a pretty abrupt halt here, because we are a minute into Sarah's section. We'll bring her on in just a second. But thank you, Alex, so much for coming on. Thank you for everything you've done.
I would just say, but before you kick me off, just quickly to answer the question, I can't help it. The difference to me is quite simple. One is the thing that is most worth your time in the time that you have on planet Earth, and one is the least worth your time. They are equally and opposite in that respect. That to me is the difference.
There you go.
Deep.
I like that too.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alex, and we really appreciate you having you coming on, and thank you for everything that you've done for the atheist community and me personally.
Well, thanks for having me on, and good luck with the stream. Congratulations on 100K, and everybody go and donate. I want to see it hit the target. It'll be fantastic. Thanks for everything you're doing. It's great.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. So, you can totally stay on. Yeah, you can hang around.
2 sections.
I think that everyone's been invited. Holy Kool-Aid was helping make sure everyone was invited on time, because
I hope Sarah's in the queue, because I had the email all drafted up to send right at 20 minutes before this started, and.
So, do we have Sarah in the queue? Because we have an interview.
Yes, we do.
It's like we're channeling a spirit. It's awesome.
This is Sarah Haider. Thank you so much for coming on. We're really excited to have a conversation with you.
Thank you for this. I mean, thank you for this drive. I mean, it's amazing to see the skeptic community support us in this way. Honestly, it's very encouraging. I'm really glad to be here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you're coming through just fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I'll have you answer the question that I've asked all of the other guests so far. Where would you be without the atheist or ex-Muslim community?
Well, it's interesting because when I was leaving, I didn't know there was an ex-Muslim community, and I don't think there was around the time when I was leaving. I guess there were atheists that I had. They had come to some prominence around the time that I was I was leaving. But I actually left when I was 15, 16, something like that. And that was before there was this big new atheist wave. So I actually hadn't heard when I was leaving of any community, and I didn't know of the term ex-Muslim. I didn't know. Now you see on YouTube, you look up ex-Muslim, and you get so many people who said, why I left Islam, or I have left Islam, explaining their stories. There was nothing like that when I was leaving, and I remember feeling like, the cliche that everyone says, which that they totally felt alone, that they felt like there was nobody out there. I had begun to avoid people from who seemed like they could be from a Muslim background, because I didn't want to be dismissed or judged or maybe even abused by somebody from my background. I didn't want that. So that was my background, and that was kind of terrible, which is why I co-founded Ex-Muslims of North America, because we wanted to really change this for ex-Muslims.
Yeah, and that actually leads into my very first interview question here is, would you tell us about your role at Ex-Muslims of North America? I mean, we know a little bit about why you would have started it. Makes perfect sense. But who are you? What do you do now?
Yeah, so I'm an activist, but what I do, my full-time job is executive director of Ex-Muslims of North America. I was one of the co-founders back in a long time ago. It's been 5 or 6 years, so we're new but growing a little bit. And I was a volunteer for many years, but now I'm staff, which is awesome. It's awesome to be able to dedicate yourself full-time to this thing that I really believe in deeply, and I love doing this kind of work. So thanks to our donors and our supporters, we've been able to have staff, and we've been able to fund a lot of amazing projects. So I do, as executive director, I manage everything at EXMNA, kind of. I can't say that I have one role, but I am like the main manager of all of our projects. And it's exciting to see the growth of the movement, and to see the growth of the organization, and to see other ex-Muslim groups pop up all over the world, really. It's just so encouraging to be a part of this.
Yeah, well, I think I could easily say that you've encouraged a lot of ex-Muslims, and people who aren't ex-Muslims are outside of that subset of the community. I think that you've really inspired and encouraged a lot of us. So on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for what you do. We really appreciate it. And if it wasn't for people like you with similar missions, then none of us would be here doing what we're doing right now. So it's the least we can do, I think, to have kind of a donation stream going. This is amazing for me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So will you tell us about when and why Ex-Muslims of North America started?
Yeah, so we started officially. We had no idea that we would go in this direction. Initially, it was just a curiosity of wanting to meet people more like us. It was myself and Muhammad Sayed who started the DC local group, where we just wanted to meet other people like us. And I remember our first meeting, and it was from like random people that we knew, mostly from online, who were ex-Muslim, and we had the meeting, and I remember being terrified because I had never heard of anybody who'd done something similar, although I think there were people in Toronto that were doing similar things before us. But at the time, I wasn't aware, and I was scared, and I know that other people on the table around me were scared. And I remember some guy going to the restroom for like a really long time, and we were all so nervous because we didn't know that this was something that you could do. We were all afraid of what might happen, or afraid that there might be somebody who's pretending to be ex-Muslim. And I remember he went to the bathroom for a really long time, and we all started getting nervous. And when he thankfully just came back, it was kind of a relief on everyone's face. But now it's so normalized. So we started, when we were starting these meetups, sort of in casual meetups, we realized that there were a lot of people there who really needed this. I mean, they would be breaking down in tears all the time in these meetings. Some people would drive 8 hours one way to go to a happy hour for 2 hours. And we're like, this is absurd. I mean, there's such a huge need for this. And then we started to create a formal structure which could foster networks like this all across the United States and Canada. And then beyond that, have an outreach effort, educate people about ex-Muslim issues, work with, the government when we can, work with other organizations, secular atheist organizations on blasphemy issues when we can. So that's sort of the story.
How much do you still worry about safety and security?
It's less and less as there are more ex-Muslims speaking out. Honestly, it's one of those things like the more people are talking about this issue and saying publicly that I'm an ex-Muslim and I don't believe, the less danger any individual has. There's this idea of like cutting the head off of a snake kind of a thing when there's a movement, but if it seems like there's so many leaders and there's so many people, it doesn't feel like there's a head, right? It's just a movement, just coming up together. So each of us are a lot safer as this is happening, I think.
So it
but
kind
me
of
personally,
dilutes the threat a little bit.
It does. But me personally, as I get more well known, that's a little bit going against that grain. So there's that danger, and I was, concerned about it initially when I was first getting onto the scene. That the more prominent I get, the more well known I get as an ex-Muslim, the more dangerous it is for me. And that was something that I had to wrestle with.
Yeah, I think I remember Ayaan Hirsi Ali talking about that we can stop worrying when she can fire her bodyguard.
Yeah, well, she was. Yeah. I only knew of Ayaan when I was first leaving. I only knew of Ayaan and heard of Salman Rushdie. And I guess Maryam Namazi had also been she was an activist for a long time, but I didn't know of her at the time. And so I didn't know of anyone except for these people who had these horrific experiences. And I remember thinking, I don't want to end up like them. I don't want to be treated like them. And I don't want that safety issue that they have to deal with their whole lives, but I also don't want to be smeared the way that they were smeared, and that they continue to be smeared.
So you never had a fatwa against you?
No, not directly. Thankfully, no.
So what made you overcome the fear of and really not wanting to end up or have the issues that you see so many ex-Muslims have? What made you overcome that worry and fear and do what you do now?
I don't know if I ever overcame it necessarily. It just became, there were just other voices in my head that became louder. And that was, especially, I grew up with a relatively liberal background. My parents weren't so bad to me. And this is something I bring up constantly to tell people, like even with myself, I was not allowed to date. I, couldn't wear certain kinds of clothing. I had to really lobby to go to college away from my parents' house because I was not allowed to leave their house until I got married. It was presumed that I'd have an arranged marriage and everything. But even then, it was a relatively liberal background. But as I started to work with ex-Muslims in North America, it was so clear that there were so many people who were going through horrific experiences that no one should have to go through. And people were going through in the West, in the United States. It made no sense. And so it just became something that that voice kept getting louder, that somebody has to do something, and those of us who have somewhat liberal backgrounds are privileged. And I think that if you know yourself to be a privileged person, you have to try and make the world a more just place.
Yeah, I think that we all really strongly relate to that.
Yeah.
Because, Thomas has a pretty crazy story of starting his activism, but all of us, I think, have felt like, we all come from certain conservative roots and have struggled against certain ideas of people like our parents and just our families in general and some of our best friends. And yeah, we feel like, there are so many people that have it so much worse, and we have a certain privileged position. We have the power to actually make something happen. So even if it's going to impact us in a way that's not ideal, it's going to be worth it so that hopefully, 10 years down the road, no one will have to do this at all.
Right. So let me ask this, because this is a related question. As a lot of people here watching us in the audience, and us included, most of us are not ex-Muslims and do not share a lot of the experiences that you might have had being a former Muslim. So besides actually donating to this drive and helping out the cause, what are some ways that people like us can help out with the ex-Muslims movement? How can we get involved? How can we be a support?
I think it might have been said earlier in
and this topic has been, I've listened to you guys on and off on the feed.
Oh, great. You've heard us say some really weird things then.
Well, just if individuals, especially people who have somewhat centrist or liberal, political leanings, can be more upfront and more honest with their opinions on Islam, particularly when it comes to those who know that there are things that should be criticized and are willing to stand up and say it. It doesn't have to be a grandstand. You don't have to make a speech on the problems of Islam. But if you could just acknowledge it when it happens, I think that would go a long way. Because when I first started, the first speech that I gave that anybody has heard of was with the American Humanist Association, and it was called the Necessity of Liberal Critique, and that was back in 2015. And that was when I was first really getting into the activism part of what I was doing, not just building the communities, but speaking out. And I felt very alone at that time. And that was, honestly, it was very disheartening. And it's one thing to say that, there's a danger, a physical danger, maybe someone's going to come attack you. But there's a lot of things that we choose to do. We choose to drive, sometimes we speed. We take risks that could hurt us. And then we overcome them one way or another. But we're social beings, and it's so difficult to get over. In my experience, it definitely was, to get over some of that disenchantment and feeling of betrayal and isolation that I felt from liberals overall. That was really, really difficult. And to go back to what we were saying, to the last question of why you have to do this, one of the things I remember when I left religion, one of the things I really miss about religion is the feeling that there is there's a justice, an ultimate justice in the end. Where the bad people are going to go where they're supposed to go, and the good people are going to get rewards for what they do here. But when I left, it was clear to me, okay, there is no ultimate justice anywhere. And if there's going to be justice, if there's going to be a fair world, it has to be one that we create. And we have to be a part of making that happen if it's going to happen at all.
Yeah, wow.
That was an excellent speech, by the way, at the American Humanist Association. Like you talk about how you were feeling very isolated and very disheartened, and yet I think that's where the passion stemmed from it. And I think that after that speech, there were a number of organizations and content creators that took that message and carried it.
So. Yeah, I think so. I think it had a good effect, and I was surprised that there was after I gave it, it sort of went mildly viral. I don't know, not it wasn't as if tons of people were seeing it, but
well, that got you on Rubin too.
Yeah, well, yeah, Sam Harris shared it, Richard Dawkins shared it, all the prominent people shared it, and I got I think hundreds of letters from people and mail from people in the weeks afterwards. Many of them, people I would call frustrated liberals, people who said that I want to say this, I want to be able to have these conversations, but for one reason or another, I feel like I can't, and I feel like I can't broach it. So it was interesting that at that time, suddenly there was a new group of people who I didn't think I could ever speak for, who I was suddenly feeling like now I'm their spokespersons as well, in addition to somebody who speaks about apostasy and about what's going on with ex-Muslims. There's a broader group of liberals who feel like they're being silenced.
Well, I've noticed a lot of times, like people who are, if they're white and they never were a Muslim, then they feel like they can't talk about the issue. And it's like, wait a minute, why can't we talk about an ideology and look at whether an idea is true or not true or good or bad? But there's this association with, oh, you're just being a racist or a bigot. When someone like you comes along and shares a speech or delivers a speech like that, then if someone who doesn't feel comfortable talking about it, they don't necessarily know the ins and outs of the topic, they can at least share your talk and your perspective without being labeled as a bigot or a racist, because it's like, no, she lived that. That is her heritage and her background and her culture.
Right. Yeah. And I think, and this is what you guys were talking about identity politics throughout the day. And definitely, I think this is where our discourse has been poisoned in a way where it needs to be someone like me, really, even if a person that doesn't share my background can empathize and reason and give the exact same speech, it wouldn't have the same impact, because we take experience. Experience has become such an important part of reason, and I don't think it. Although I think it's a part of it, I don't think it's the meat. I don't think it's the heart, and it's. We'll see where things go. I find that in my own experience, the fact that I'm, myself of Pakistani background and Muslim background, that changes the minds of some people, but not of others. Often I also get people who think that I'm just unwoke, and like, and there will be white people who tell me this, who tell me that I don't understand the sources of my own oppression. And it's an extreme condescension, and I do get it pretty frequently. And it's extremely aggravating, and I'm not sure how to break them out of it.
Well, you address ex-Muslim issues from many different sides and in many different ways. There's so many different channels that you guys hit upon, especially lately, it seems. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what the organization does as far as like recent projects, like any speaking tours or videos, things like that.
Yeah. In the past, we did a video series called Life Beyond Faith, and I'm really proud of this project. I was the producer. I don't know what you would call me, and I don't know anything about video production, but I was directing most of those videos, all of those videos actually, and it was just such a wonderful experience to talk to all these ex-Muslims. And we are lucky with ex-Muslims in North America that we have a huge community. So we had this huge pool of people that we could just pick out whoever we wanted, who had a really interesting story and had a compelling personality. And we wanted to show the variety of ex-Muslims and ex-Muslim experiences. And I think that we did a really good job in our project to cover that. So if anybody's interested in seeing different videos of people from, honestly, the most wide backgrounds, people who are accepted by their family, people who have been abused by their family, people from, I think the oldest ex-Muslim there is 84. He's been ex-Muslim for like over 50 years. So we covered him, and then there's people who are, my age and younger, talking about their experiences. So we did that, and I would encourage people to check that out. We also had a Normalizing Dissent tour, what we call the Normalizing Dissent tour, which was a speaking tour where we went to United States and Canadian campuses. We actually, I don't think, made it to any Canadian campuses. We tried, and then we got, had problems along the way.
Yeah, I heard about a little bit of the deplatforming that was going on there, and it's pretty maddening to hear about when you care about a cause like that. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, it was very disheartening. But it's what we expected, and that's why we were there, because we knew that this is a challenging environment, and this is an environment that really needs these voices. And of course, we're going to get a lot of people there who don't want us there, and that's why we should be there. Yeah. And in the future, we're really excited. Where I can't speak too much about it, but we have a lot of really amazing projects that are going to be launched next year. We're going to be producing more videos. So if anybody wants to follow our YouTube page, I think it's just ex-Muslims.org. is the handle, I think, for YouTube. So if people following here want to follow that and subscribe, that would be amazing. And then you'll get in touch with some of our content coming up.
What are your biggest costs and the areas of growth that you want to see this organization go into? Like, for people right now who are looking to donate, and the fundraiser is going to ex-Muslims of North America, in what ways are you planning to make a difference in the future that their money can really come along and give you guys the boost that you need?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the community is one of those things that's it's hard for me to make the case to donors about how important it is, because an average donor doesn't see what's going on. They're not invited to the meetups that we have and to the events. So I think it's hard for them to know how important that those donations are that help us foster those communities. But truly, we have been able to save lives. We give emergency grants pretty regularly of people who are kicked out of their home, or who are, I'm working with a woman right now who escaped Saudi, who is transitioning out of a domestic violence shelter, and she's a women's shelter, sorry. And now we're helping her get set up and, make it on her own. And we do this kind of work quite frequently. But I think of a possibly a greater importance might be some of those video projects that we have that allow ex-Muslims to not feel alone. One project that we are going to be doing in the future, I'm really excited about, and I can't talk too much about it. We did a survey of ex-Muslims in our chapters, and we got a ton of responses and really interesting answers and data. And we were working with a research university to make that happen. And I think it's the first survey of its kind, and that costs money. It costs money for us to sponsor and to implement, but I really think that it's going to help when it comes out, and it's going to help give people the data that they need to advocate on behalf of us and to even have conversations about this in the future.
That will be extremely helpful as someone who is constantly looking through research on topics very similar to that to figure out whether or not I have any kind of an idea of what the landscape of this kind of thing is, like the ideological landscape surrounding these things, and making videos about that. That will be immensely helpful, and I can't wait to utilize those resources when that's finalized. So that's really awesome. We're in the last 5 minutes of our stream now, so I want to make sure and give a huge boost to. I see a lot of my mods sharing the link, and people are giving super chats. Just another reminder. At this point, there's been so many super chats that I think I'm going to be trying to figure out how many super chats I got and then donating a certain amount. And just to let you know, if you want to donate to the cause, the most direct way to do it, where YouTube is taking no cut at all, is going to be to donate to the GoFundMe, which is in the chat and is in the description. Of course, that will be left up for a few days at least after we're done with this. But we talked about the kind of most recent projects you've had and some future projects. So I'm wondering, what is the feedback that you get from both inside and outside of your community? What do the people that you're trying to help say about the organization?
Oh, do you mean inside and outside ex-Muslims? What do they say, inside and outside, or Muslims?
Well, I guess we'll start off with, what do Muslims say about you, and then we'll talk about what ex-Muslims say about you.
So your hate comments.
Yeah, what are your hate
John
comments?
Gleason back on the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the most common thing, I think, and this is completely understandable. I get it. I was a religious person, and I really believed. I'm not, there are some ex-Muslims who I'll have conversations with them, and they say, I never really bought it. That wasn't me. I bought it, and I believed it, and I was preaching it to others, and I was hoping to convert people. And I think it's hard for Muslims to truly understand that this is an intellectual choice, and that it was very often based on rational reasons, about it, based in the scriptures themselves, or deeply in the practice, or maybe even logical contradictions of a god, or any kind of a powerful being, or a creator in that way. I think that's a very difficult thing for Muslims to grasp, and so they think that we do this that we leave religion for every reason other than that. Because the religion is perfect, so it couldn't possibly be that they left because of something that the Quran actually says. They couldn't possibly leave because of a correct interpretation. It has to be, in the nicest way of putting it, I think, from their perspective, is that we're confused, or we're lost. And then they're more often it's things like they are liars, they're paid actors. We get quite a bit. I get quite a bit of accusations that I'm paid by Coke or Soros or Jews in general, or like some sort of some malevolent force that's making this happen. And I think that's a tendency to try and rationalize what's happening and to make it seem like, okay, there's just these evil people who are just pulling the strings, and it's not a real movement that's coming forth from regular people. And that's the impression that we tried to change with our Life Beyond Faith series, where we try to show you that this is a person that could be your brother, your sister, your uncle. You don't even know who might be a closeted Muslim, and this is where it's coming from. It's coming from normal people who are just having problems with the faith itself.
I think that a lot of people in my audience right now can seriously resonate with having some of those accusations lobbied against them. I mean, we've already talked about several times just on this broadcast about people say that we're not even real atheists. And
the last video that I did was titled "Never Say This to an Atheist," and it was all about you were never a true Christian. And I just went all through the details of my religious upbringing and how I bought it and how immersed I was. And it sounds like you get that all the time, and a lot of ex-Muslims get that all the time, where it's like, well, you were never a true Muslim.
Yeah, or like you were saying, the reasons
so pretentious.
The reasons why you left are different from the real reasons. Like a lot of people say, oh, I think that you left because you think like Christians are hypocrites and stuff. It's like, no, I knew Christians were hypocrites when I was a Christian. I left because of like the evidence kind of reasons and all this other stuff.
Right. I mean,
they act like they know your story.
They have to believe that, right? I mean, it's a necessity. So if you do believe that this is the truth, you can't believe it's not a choice. It's not a choice. You can't believe that people leave for rational reasons.
So we know now what Muslims say, and I think that we can all resonate with that. So what do ex-Muslims say about the organization? What kind of feedback have you gotten from the people you've reached out to?
Well, I guess it's weird as an executive director of the organization to talk about how much other people love us, but
Go ahead, plug away.
Yeah, please toot your own horn. This is the place to do it.
Let's get that donation up to 2,000 before the end of the stream. You guys have heard it here. You've heard how much they're helping people whose lives are threatened, who are being shunned by family, who are being kicked out, who are the future leaders in this intellectual battle, people who they're giving voices to, they're creating media. They're really, really, really reshaping the way that we look at this and from a very rational perspective. So you plug this as much as you want, Sarah, and let's get that donation thing up to 2,000 by the end of the stream.
Got a couple
Let's see if we can do it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try and remember some from how sad of a story do you want? I mean, I can talk about a woman who we were able to help this last year, who was essentially in danger of being honor killed, she ran away, went to another city to be somewhat safer, and her family started accusing her of all sorts of criminal acts, so that the authorities went and imprisoned her due to these false accusations. And we fought and helped her get out. And now she's alive today. And I would love to talk about her story in detail, but I don't want to give any identifying information because she is actually actively concerned that they're going to do something to hurt her. But I know that she credits our organization and our work with her freedom and safety today. And one thing that really makes me feel like we're effective is that there are some people who don't even want to join us because they're just sort of happy that we're there. And I've seen comments like this on forums that that they count on this organization already, that they sort of take us for granted, which is amazing because only 2-3 years ago, you could never have done that. 5 years ago, we didn't exist. And there was never such a thing where it's like, of course, well, there's this organization. And if you need help, they're going to be there. And that people understand that there's something out there for them, some support network that they can count on just in case. And they almost take it for granted, which is kind of in a way proof that we're doing something that is unique and that is necessary and that people find of real value.
But not without funding.
Not without funding.
And to the people to the people who are in the West who don't necessarily understand this mindset, like they hear, oh, I don't know if this is really a true story of this person having these, allegations. What if they were criminal and stuff? I can say, having lived in the Muslim world for 15 years, these types of stories are not uncommon at all. Like I heard them consistently growing up of someone would leave the faith. In my case, because my parents were missionaries, someone would become a Christian or, in this case, they're becoming an atheist. And it is, you have dishonored the entire family and you are deserving of death in order to save the family's honor.
They will do anything. There are some families who are so extreme. They will do anything. They will, and I think honor violence in particular is something that people in the West generally don't understand, because how can you possibly kill your own child? But we have many members who that's who they're afraid of more than anyone else. That's who they're afraid of, their own family. the extreme example is that they'll literally kill you. But more there's a broader group of people for whom family is the one that's going to abuse them. Family is the one that's going to advocate for the communities and other people around them to leave. Yesterday, I was at one of our events and I was talking to a guy whose father who had come out to his father, and whose father is telling people like in Pakistan that if you keep up with him and you continue to talk to him, I will tell the authorities that you are working with an apostate and I will get them to arrest you. So there are families who are actively taking part of the isolation of their own family members, and it's terrible, and it's hard to describe. I think it's hard for people to understand really what's happening.
Let me add on to this too, because there is this idea of, we're becoming more secular every day. You know, like this is just going to happen naturally. This is a process, and one that's a very Western way of looking at the world. Because I mean, you're seeing these trends happening in these countries, particularly. There are tons of countries in the world right now that are getting more religious every day, and that's also just like. It's mostly a phenomenon happening in Christian countries, the rapid secularization that we're seeing today. The same level of movement is not happening as much, which means that there's more legwork and more things that has to be done, because the level of activism that needs to happen in those countries doesn't happen as much as it does here. The ACA couldn't exist in some countries. You know, it just wouldn't be a thing. We wouldn't be streaming right now. So it's hard for some people to wrap their minds around this kinds of thing, because they're not seeing it happen in their own place. Out of sight, out of mind is kind of, you know, the mindset that goes on.
Can I point out something right now that is really, really, really huge that I don't think people are aware of? And that's that right now in the West, we have the ability to speak up. So like you were saying a second ago, because we can speak freely, we have a responsibility to speak freely. But here's where it gets exciting, okay? People are freaking out about, you know, they'll look at like Muslim immigrants leaving, you know, places like Syria and flooding to the West, flooding to Europe, flooding to the US, Australia, you name it, places where they can speak freely. And they're like, oh, it's going to be a great replacement of Muslims. Wait a second, though. These are people who are coming in and being exposed to these ideas for the first time. Where do you think that they're going to go when they have doubts and they have questions? They're going to go to organizations like Ex-Muslims of North America. They're going to be exposed to atheism, exposed to critical thinking and secularism for the first time in their lives from other ex-Muslims who they can relate to. Then, from that point, they speak the language of their home. They speak, you know, either Arabic or Farsi, Dari, you name it. So, of all of the secular books that exist in those languages, it's minuscule. But those are people who can translate them. Those are people who can take the message back to their homes. Those are people who can, you know, you say it's not happening at a grand scale there. It's not happening at a grand scale there yet. But we're on the cusp of something
it's beginning
huge.
to happen. I really do think that. And I mean, I know it's a weird thing to say, and maybe a surprising thing to say to people right after talking about, you know, your family disowning you and killing you and all this stuff. But I do think there's a window here of opportunity, and it's closing, but it's here. And for the first time in Muslim communities in particular, they've never had the equivalent of a civil society. They've never been able to openly talk about their feelings and thoughts and beliefs in the way that civil society has developed in the West. And you can track progress, and you can track it alongside the development of a civil society and the enshrinement of civil liberties, of the freedom of speech in Western countries. You can see that coming, you know, you can see that correlation. You can see that work together in harmony to produce a progressive society, an open-minded society, a tolerant society, and in the Muslim world, that has never been allowed to take place. There's no such thing as going out into the public sphere and actually having an honest discourse because of what you might face because of being honest. But with the internet, for the first time, we really have a shot at having honest conversations, real conversations with people in the Muslim world, and I know that it's making a change. I've seen the growth of ex-Muslims since I started this to be something that is shocking to me, and I'm a pretty jaded soul like at this point. But it's been shocking and surprising, and honestly, that's what gives me hope all the time, is to see all the people from Muslim backgrounds who are stepping up to the plate and who are asking you know, their communities to re-examine certain things, and they're really challenging stereotypes in their broader communities as well. But when I say it's about to close, I mean literally, in the sense that so far, the governments in Muslim majority countries in particular haven't really caught on as well as other countries have to monitoring and censoring the internet. They do it a little bit. They're not great at it yet, but they will be getting better at it. And they're going to be getting better at it shortly. But in this time, right now, we have this free and open exchange of ideas, and we need to capitalize on this opportunity as best as we possibly can. I mean, we need to go hard and direct at addressing this problem right now, because we have a shot right now in a way that we've never had before, and we might never have in the future.
So
I just actually realized in the chat right now, someone said if Drew and Thomas both kiss Dan on the cheek right now, they'll donate whatever that is left to get to $2,000.
For a good cause, boys.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And I want to know why that isn't above $2,000 already right now. You heard Sarah. The future of civilization depends on it. You guys are making a huge difference. You may not be changing it entirely, but you're this domino.
Oh my God, that was such a Thomas thing to do. I love it. But yeah, we'll stay on for just like 2 more minutes and see this thing go up. We'll make sure and refresh it to give that person just a little bit of time to put in any of their payment information. But Sarah, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for doing what you do. I just saw on the stream there, it has a little bit of a delay that we kissed. That was beautiful. But but do you have anything?
It's going to be a meme, isn't it?
God, well, a lot of things from today that are going to be a meme.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, sorry about the things that Dan was just
all good.
droning on about earlier.
All good.
We do it for the future of civilization.
But
well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me on. I mean, this is amazing that you guys are doing this. I honestly, this is what gives us this feeling of like there's hope out there and there's support out there. And honestly, to the 3 of you, for being here and for doing this, and for everyone who's been on this stream today to support us. It's amazing, and we love you. And please know that you're a part of this bigger movement out there, and we know that we can make a difference, and we are making a difference, and we're able to do it because of you guys. So thank you.
I want to say this stream was Drew's idea, and it's Drew's channel, and I'm grateful that you hit 100,000, but you didn't just make it about you. You didn't just say, hey, look at me, I hit 100, I'm so great. You used it for a good cause, and I think that this is a fantastic cause. So congratulations on 100,000. Here's to 1 million, and here's to ex-Muslims in North America as well.
Now I want to kiss you on the cheek.
How about I don't know.
Well, there's an after party. There's an after party. So
you have a wife. You can save it for her.
Okay.
My cheeks will be okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
but I appreciate the thought.
Let me see. Can we get a refresh on there? I think that in the chat they're saying we may have hit over 2,000.
Let's see.
Let's get it refreshed on the screen.
And
let's see.
Maybe not.
Maybe no changes yet.
Maybe it just from the time that we gave our impassioned speech, people's credit card information just takes a long time to type.
Oh, wow. I refreshed it myself. We're at over 2,200 so far, and that's just during the stream.
All right.
Yeah. And it was about 10 minutes ago, we were down to like 1,000 something, and then we had that huge push.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks to you to doing that big push. And thank you to my moderators who have done this.
Sarah's stories were insane. That's awesome.
Pretty amazing. So, Sarah, before we head off, is there any media or anything that you want to plug before we conclude?
Yeah, we have all these, we have our website, exmuslims.org. We have a YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. It's all exmuslims.org. So please follow us. And we're going to be bringing a lot more content on YouTube. And I think mostly we're going to focus on educational content to help people like you, give you guys ammo, give you guys some data to work with, give you guys some arguments that I think will be really helpful. And that's going to be our direction in the future. So please follow us if you want to get that and donate. And so thank you, all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We got it up on the screen
boys.
Here. Woo! All right. Well, with that, I want to thank everyone that's been a part of the stream. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting such an amazing cause. And thank you for supporting me and my voice so that I can lift up others who deserve it even more than I ever could.
Can I say one last thing about this too, is that even if we hit 5,000 and in the next couple days or something, like that's going to be up for a while. So there's no limit. Just because the goal is 5,000 doesn't mean that that's the cap. EXMNA has much bigger XMNA. I'm probably I pronounce it differently than you do.
There's no real way to say it,
but you guys have tons of different projects. So like, there's no reason that if we hit 5,000 that we can't get to 10 or 20 or however much you guys want to give. So
what do I have to do if we end up hitting 5,000?
If you hit 5,000, just go in and bump it to 10.
Well, so at the end of my next video,
camera. Yeah,
what do I do on camera? What do I do that's embarrassing on?
What does he have to do on camera?
You have to do the Virgin song on stage
Virginity.
somewhere.
Oh!
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. Mm-hmm.
If we get to $5,000 by the time I'm releasing my next video, which will be next weekend, I will on camera sing at least 2 repetitions of "Virginity is cool"
in a public place.
In a public place.
I will be there to verify as witness.
Or overalls.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do in a public place. I'm gonna sing about how amazing virginity is if we can get this to $5,000. So thanks one more time, Sarah. You're awesome. Thank you to everyone who's made this possible. And I want to just do one last thank you to the ACA and all the amazing crew that's behind this, the live audience that have all made this possible. What we're gonna do as an outro is play a little clip, I believe if the producers have it ready, that just shows a little bit, really brief snippet of what the ACA does and gives a little plug for their shows that deserve way more attention than they've ever gotten. So thank you guys so much. Stay awesome, stay skeptical, and don't drink the Kool-Aid. We're out. Woo!
Yeah, we have 10 channels.